Whoa. Welcome back to WAAAGH Tactics.
We're back with Mac David.
Yeah.
Back from Italy after being gone for approximately a month.
Yeah, I got a little lost out there, but I'm back.
Let's go.
I just followed that WAAAGH energy.
All right, everybody. Today, what? Are we good?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, everybody. So, as you can tell from the title, I am finishing my little bit of prep here. I got to paint up my Beast Boss because I procrastinated. And just a couple other models, not a big deal. So I'll be getting that done on stream pretty much for the most part, talking about my list, some questions, some apprehensions I have, maybe for good reason, and stuff like that. So it'll be a kind of transparent conversation and live stream in general, kind of tell you guys what's going on. You guys can ask me what's going on and what I think's going to happen. Kind of more of a personal thing. Obviously, as I got to prepare, I didn't really come up with too much content to come up with today. But starting next week, we'll get back to our normal stuff, regular, smaller, shorter form content as well, from edits from David, some tactics videos and such like that. So this should be a very relative weekend and good experience, regardless of the outcome.
Yeah, I just got back last night. So like I said, next week we're going to go full speed and you'll start seeing more content again. And just be on the lookout. As Eddie said, he's prepping tomorrow for the Armed Forces GT.
I'm present. Yeah, today for the GT, the 2-day event, which is tomorrow and Sunday. Yeah.
And you got to give Eddie a lot of credit because he's going into this with, it's his first tournament. So to hop into this meta right now is a big task in itself. But, we're like we always say, it's not all about winning.
What the last event was LVO essentially, like
one edition ago.
Yeah, like an edition ago, and then I haven't done anything since. I was like, maybe I should do an RTT before going. Nah, signed up for the GT. Like maybe that was a mistake, but we'll find out.
It's about the experience, and like I said, give Eddie a lot of credit for going out there and doing a 2-day event right off the bat.
Time to practice what I preach. You know what I'm saying? Let's go.
Yeah. So we got some chats here from earlier.
Let's see what's up to our wall.
Hit him up real quick. Christian, who's also going to be going to the GT, gives us a wall.
I was going to do my wall.
Sorry, yeah.
Christian.
The clip with another wall.
We're going to get a lot of walls, huh? All right, you guys are getting all right, you already feeling it? I don't ever stop feeling it.
Wicked Joe with another whoa.
Yeah, if any of you guys are also going to be going, let me know. I know the Big Boss is going. Me and the Big Boss are going to meet. If you know who he is, he's from Discord. He's going to sell me a Gorkanaut also. That way I can get my mech wall nice up and running because that was the only thing I was lacking. I got kill tanks, Stampa, Morkanaut. Now just a bunch of Dreadnoughts, kill cans. Now I just needed that Gorkanaut, and he will help me with that. So shout out to Big Boss.
Yeah, it's going to be a good opportunity to take that to an RTT. See how you perform.
Yep, and then Daggers is getting a Gargantuan Squigoth being custom built by Daggers. You guys know who he is, so I'll be hitting him too. So from here on, it should be just fun events over and over, fun lists, stuff like that.
Yeah, I just want to take a quick moment to thank all you guys for helping us out here. We're still relatively new, but we feel the love with everyone pitching in either through the comments or going that extra mile for us and helping Eddie grow his own collection. And just all the feedback that we get. The Discord is always popping, so thank you very much for.
And I don't think I think we got like one negative comment as a whole so far. I'm jinxing us now saying that, but like for the most part, there's really been very little negative comments and interactions as a whole. So that's always nice, guys.
Yeah, I mean, I think that just goes to show like the energy that we put out as well. Like we're not, being hard asses on anyone or complaining about rules or anything like that.
Or community too. I mean, they're just known for what they are, and it's obviously holding true.
All right, now Jumanji, it's crumping time.
Time to crump the gits and get the bits.
We got Wicked Joe. Raspberry pomegranate sorbet is delicious.
What's happening? Where did that come from?
I don't know, but
all right, dude.
For the heads
up. This came out of nowhere with that. My guy's expressing his thoughts.
All right. He's also asking who's getting games this weekend.
Yep. Well, I'll be getting mine. David's gonna start running his Space Wolves. Chris Tech Christian, if you guys know, if you've seen him on the channel before, he's trying to become the top 5 Midwest World Eaters players. So this should be his 4th. So all of us are going to be getting games in and relevant. So it should be fun. Very exciting. A lot of activity.
Wicked's also going to try and get a 1K game in tomorrow.
Yeah, I seen your collection. You went right out the gate getting a bunch of models. You were really busy. You're not too much hobby lag as you showed in your picture. So that's impressive. And like you said, as long as you get ahead of that and play with what you want, it should be fun.
Sandor Horniak, he's getting a 2K game against Black Templars tomorrow.
There we
Bring
go.
in the big boy Gazgul.
Oh, sure. What was that?
Funsies.
I wonder
Hell's Reach must burn.
Hell's Reach must burn. I actually listened to that but not too long ago. It's fresh in my memory. So yeah, I mean, as long as you beat them up by attrition and just destroying them, as that's how they like to be handled anyways. And Black Templars, little weirdos. But let me know what that list is like. If it's like a horde of Black Templars, that'd be interesting.
Right.
They're looking to meet you in the middle. They're looking to meet you in the middle and exchange chainsword blows.
Jumanji, I'm going to be painting and then seeing Coheed and Cambria.
Oh, I know who that is.
Yeah.
Okay, hell yeah. I mean, oops, yeah. Sorry, I don't swear too often on stream. Yeah, and my painting up right now.
That's awesome. I haven't been to a concert in like 7 years.
And that's a
last
loss.
one I went to, no, more than 7 years. The last one I went to was Linkin Park. No, it was Slipknot and Korn in Omaha, Nebraska.
Dang.
About 2014.
What the heck? That's when you were in the Air Force. That was a hot minute ago.
Uh-huh.
Dang.
Yeah, one of my buddy's friends canceled on them last minute, and I was lucky enough to go get the ticket for free. So it's a really good show. All right, Jumanji's asking, how many Mega Knobs are you running with him?
He was talking about the gas list. Okay. Yeah, that's a good question. Anyways, I'd like to know that too. I tend to go with like 5 if I do, but I've seen using 2 is totally viable as well, just so that you have the couple bodyguards and such and keep the profile small. So both would be acceptable answers. Or 6, actually. I was running 6 with guys.
All right, I'll just read this because I already put it
up.
Sure. Mm-hmm. Sandor says, I want to try out the Big Mech with Mega Knobs, so I'm actually just running him by himself. Not a good idea versus a lot of armies, but don't think the Templars will be running that many guns.
Oh, okay, I see. He's just running gas. Okay, yeah, and that's a good idea. If you know that you're going to not going against a gunline army, obviously you got to watch out for them dev wounds, right? That's the only other thing is that any dev will go directly into gas at this point, right? Because he doesn't have the bodyguards. Other than that, that's totally a viable reason that you could just run him alone, and he's easier to hide from the few guns that they might have.
Yeah, and since they're not running a lot of guns, it sounds like he's not running that abusive version of the 3 Redemptor Dreadnoughts.
Is that a thing right now? I don't even know anymore.
I don't know if it's still a thing, but I know Jack Harpster's talked about it.
Oh, okay.
And how I guess they can get access to 6-up Fiona Pain.
Okay.
So then he'll say like it gives them on average like 2 extra wounds, and to deal with 3 Redemptor bodies.
And they reduce damage and such.
Yeah, and they reduce damage. And do they have a 2-up save?
I don't remember. I think
I can't remember.
So I don't remember. But
regardless, it sounds like a more fun, fluffy Templar list.
Good. Just like Hell's Reach replayed all over again. That's what I like to hear.
And
got another wall from Jumanji right there. He's trying.
Yeah. I want to ask Sandor though. Does he like the Big Mech more than the War Boss? I feel like the War Boss. No, actually, the Big Mech gives a 4-up invul. So
and he picks them back up too.
And he picks them up.
And he can heal
more
the
durability, and you get reroll hit rolls of 1.
Right? Yeah, and the way that's in shooting. But I was gonna say that the one thing is that high C Mega Knobs kind of right now is that they'll stand around and stand in objectives for you and take the pressure off squigs, maybe the trucks or whatever it is, instead of if you have to have an objective in the open sometimes and you have to stand there. That's where Mega Knobs I think will kind of come into shine, because they just don't have enough attacks to be like an offensive powerhouse usually. If you're running kill saws at least, right? Even then, if it's like a small unit and you have the power claws, you're not really getting a lot of attacks compared to like just a unit of knobs. So that's the way I like to see them too, is like run them as they're going to hold an objective and kill who comes near them, but they're not going to go running out searching the entire game. They're really like a reliable line holder on one flank, like pretty much like a anvil. If the rest of your army's an anchor, the Mega Knobs will act as the anvil sometimes.
All right, and you called this out earlier. Jumanji with a
Whoa! Oh, I'm holding my squig. Yeah. Oh, James, what? You're going to talk about the 18 death
James.
copters again? Huh? No, I'm just kidding. James be out here, dude.
He's asking me how was Italy. Italy was amazing. I had a lot of fun, a lot of good experiences. To be honest, I was out there a little too long, but that was only because the first 2 weeks I was out there was for work, and then I took another week to enjoy myself. But I gotta say, I'm not a fan of the Italian diet. It's way too many carbs. My body did not like that.
Yeah, I was like, I do not envy that part. The fish, I can see the fish being awesome, the art, maybe the people and such like that, like the environment, but I would be not into all the carb, like the pasta. I don't even eat that I'm here.
No, everything else was great, and the fish was amazing. The one thing too is their oils, dude. I don't know what they do, but it was delicious, man.
Their oils, what?
Yeah, like virgin oil, and just how like they kind of like cook it into the meat or cook it into the pasta.
Oh, maybe because it's just more natural.
Yeah,
I don't know.
I have to say, but it was delicious. I couldn't get enough of that.
Nice.
Sandor with the Konichi. Whoa!
I love that one. I was gonna walk again, but I'm gonna end up throwing my model over here. I'm trying to get this squid going.
I got you.
Thanks.
All right, the clip says, I think I saw in my BCP player the Armed Forces tourney in my area. How many people go to it?
I think it's 80. I think it's 80 this year. Because the location I think changed, and I think it got bigger. They do run, what is it, the WTC terrain also there?
Yeah.
I had uploaded the list, but it was the incorrect list essentially that I uploaded, and it didn't change. That's why I'm not pulling it up. So the list I am running is not the one if you do see it on BCP. The one on BCP was like one of the fluffy lists I have, which was had like the knob with wall banner and such.
Jumanji says, full send, no need for an RTT.
Pretty much, right? That's what's like. I don't know if I don't need it. I could have definitely used the reps. I mean, I've got practice games. Lucky I have a good friends and community, and Christian is a good player himself, doing well this edition. So like I have decent game like practice overall, but compared to the kind of guys that go and prepare for GTs and the kind of guys that I know in this area that are going to be going really strict meta sometimes. Not everybody, right? But there's a good portion. Like there's about 6 Eldar players, 6 Chaos Marine players, like 7 or 8 Necron players. There's like 4 Chaos Knights, 4 Imperial Knights, 5 Astra Militarum. So as a whole, it's like a decent little mix. There's only like 1 GSC player, 1 T-Suns player. I think only 1 Chaos Demons player. Like 4 World Eaters players. So we'll see what kind of matchups I end up getting into, right? I wouldn't want to start the day with like a army that I haven't actually got a game into, like Eldar or even like GSC. It's not that I don't necessarily know what they want to do, but knowing what's coming and then actually performing correctly and stuff is something that I've noticed that I can get a little better at this edition. I can kind of understand what I really want to do and foresee, but the actual execution at like the GT level is a different thing. So
yeah, sometimes you don't realize the full impact or the full flexibility of some of these abilities until you actually hit the tabletop.
Yeah.
At least that's like how it is for me.
Yeah, so it's gonna be good. I expect to collect teeth and also get some of my teeth knocked out too. It's part of the game, part of the process.
All right, and the clip's asking tournament vlog.
Well, yeah, David.
So that is something we're definitely interested in doing in the future. But like we mentioned, this is going to be Eddie's first tournament, so we're not going to put that extra responsibility on him. And I have other prior engagements to go to tomorrow, but possibly for the next one.
Yeah, maybe Dragonfall, which is like 3 weeks from now.
Yeah, 3 weeks from now. So I don't think I'll be ready necessarily to participate in that one. We'll see, but yeah, I definitely will want to start following Eddie around and recording this. That way he can solely focus on gameplay and then not have to handle too many things at once.
Dragonfall should be like, I'm thinking of bringing more of a narrative kind of list to that. At this WTC terrain, it's kind of dense. Couldn't really bring too much narrative stuff unless I'm going to bring hordes of boys. But because I'm not refined and I don't have the GW kind of like the collect for the models, what are they called? Like you put like 5 or 10 models in one and sight it up. The movement trays. Sorry, I don't have the GW 32 mil movement trays. I just thought eventually over 5 games I'd get burnt out and I'd get sloppy if I brought a horde. But Big Boss is bringing a horde. I think it could be pretty awesome on this WTC train, to be honest. So I did consider that. I just thought, based off how much practice I've actually gotten, the fact that I'm not really stamina built up for a GT yet to play a horde, I just decided to go with something that I'm somewhat more familiar with. So yeah, I'm just running that, some kind of more like a mixed list. It's we can talk about it if anybody cares, but yeah.
Yeah. Also with Dragonfall, they're gonna have essentially 2 different tournaments there. One more of your traditional competitive type, and then one that they're gonna add some extra restrictions so it can be as narrative and fun as possible. So that'll be fun. And speaking of Dragonfall, Frank Russo's saying hopefully he sees us there.
Ah, yes, our resident ultramarine. Yeah, Frank helped me get some practice games in as well. Make sure that I'm doing better on the secondary mission play and such, making sure I'm not sloppy, stuff like that. Because really, that's what it comes down to, right? You can know everything to do on paper. You can have all the theory crafting you want, but when it comes to actual performance, that 1 inch that you're off that allows you to be overwatched, that 1 inch that you messed up that allows you to be heroic intervened, like there's certain things that you got to keep in mind. Some armies I would just like when I had a practice game into Custodes, and I was just kind of like, all right, I really don't know exactly how my output's going to go here. And I played it, and then, yeah, I did win the game, but, the player could have played better. And, it really could have gone either way. It's really a dice rolls game when you're playing against Custodes. So I'm feeling it. I'm feeling I don't know. It's a mixed bag of feelings. I'm also not used to people actually caring about my results. Usually I would just play just like any other person and just enjoy myself. And now knowing that there's, people who somewhat are interested, I guess, and people who will know my results, I guess it's hard not to get in my own head a little bit, right? I mean, we all have a little bit of expectations of ourselves. So yeah, just being transparent though. Like I'm gonna try to keep that out of my head as I play, knowing that I'm gonna come back into the stream one day and see how I did, and people are gonna ask. So I'm just trying to go out there and think of it more as an experience, like Christian said.
Yeah, and I think that's, like you said, it's normal to feel, especially us, because we're naturally competitive. So we always try to push our own boundaries. But yeah, it's going to be about the experience, and just go out there and have fun, man.
Yeah. But I'm definitely going to be trying to win. I know it's not all about winning, but, when you got to go, a part of having a good game is the fact that you're trying to win. And, if you're just being too silly and too laid back, it kind of takes away from the other person too and your own experience. So I'm definitely going to go out there trying to win, do my best, take every game serious, but also have a smile on my face. Keep their orc name good. That everybody knows that orc players are the most happy, jovial, just interested in a proper scrap more than the results of the scrap. So I got to keep that same energy, and that's it, regardless of the outcome.
And Wicked Joe says the last concert for him was a Revolution concert. Not sure what that is.
My last concert was Tim McGraw. What's up? What's up? Yeah, dude. Yeah, what's up? You guys weren't expecting that one, huh? All right. Second. So this squad of Squigs is going to be purple. My other squads, I have a green squad, I have a red squad. So it's easy to distinguish them for me. Yeah. And like I said, if you guys care to know what my actual list is, let me know.
Yeah, well, we're going to go over that in a second. I just want to catch up with chats.
Yeah, for sure. Keep it going, chats. Like, this is just a hobby stream. You guys let me know what you think. Let us know what's going on with you, what you're looking forward to. If you're near Dragonfall, if you know anybody going to Armed Forces, if you're going to show up, that'd be cool.
Yeah, and even if you show up just to, hang out with us, that'd be cool too.
Yeah, for sure. Me and Christian will be there. We'll be having lunch, like anybody else, enjoying ourselves. I'm going to bring a little shirt, so I'll be easy to identify. Boom, boom, easy.
Show that shirt off, man.
Oh, sure, man. I'm going to start flexing.
These are in production right now, but
start modeling. Hold on, guys. Oh.
These are our first variation of our shirts for the channel.
Where's my butt? Oops, that was cool.
Were you trying to twerk on screen, dude? No one wants to see that.
My bad. Warhammer community, and start searching for y'all. And then also we got this. Shout out to Taylor.
Oh, bam. Show them all the angles.
So as you can see, before I punch my screen here, actually has the orc coins that you guys are familiar with, that you guys get from your GW store when you buy stuff. And he actually push pressed these all in here. We got the Gabo. Shout out. We got the orc rocker that was actually in this corner. And then just other coins. So this is what we got. I'm actually gonna take this to the event also, so it'll be kind of funny. Hopefully it's not obnoxiously big. I can actually find space on my little tray. I'm gonna have a cart. So yeah, it'll be easy to identify me and talk and just have fun, really.
Yeah, it's a beautiful tray. And again, thank you, Tyler White, for providing that for us.
Bam. Oh.
Dogdacious with a
Whoa!
what's
Dog
up?
Dacious coming in, dude. I always remember him because that's a freaking picture. Always got me
It's
the
hard to
first time.
forget. Yeah.
Yeah.
Blake Kittrell. Eldar is tough but doable.
Yeah, like I say, I know that we actually do decent into it because we know what they want to do, and we have the tools to win the skirmishes, to put pressure on them, stuff like that. I have a couple, ideas of what they would want to do if I see their list. Going over this, like putting my grots into strategic reserves. That way, they can't throw the incarnate in my backfield. I understand what the warp spiders want to do and what they're there for. I understand which units to put into the wraith guard and how durable they can be. So there's like I said, I understand what I'm supposed to do. It's about proper execution and model placement. That's that's really a big part of Warhammer that can't be overlooked, especially as an orc player, guys, because that's what we have is the movement.
Right. And like you were saying earlier, you can't fully rely on Math Hammer and theory when you're playing this game because there's a reason the top players stress test their own list to push past the boundaries, to push past those turns where the rolls don't go your way, and you have to adjust and see how your list performs. So getting these actual reps is very beneficial.
Yeah, and after I heard all of like the bad talk about how custodes were, they were actually a bit harder than I expected. Like the durability and such, the fact that they could reduce damage. If they do just rolls hot on his 3-up saves to all your armor AP1, the fact that he can reduce damage by 1 for all your knobs coming in. Flash gets would do good, obviously, to be honest. That was kind of awesome. But yeah, it's like I said, it's all actual when you start playing that it becomes different. We can look at all the stats and data that we want, but the games do have dice that are involved, and that matters a lot for us, right?
Yes. And Sandor, brand new with 10th, but tried to crump at a GT last week. I went 1-4, but I learned a lot. It was worth my time for sure. Good luck, brother.
Oh, thanks. That was actually, very relative to what I'm thinking and how, I hope, obviously to do as best I can. But yeah, that's exactly similar boat. I mean, I did play 9th edition a lot and everything on 8th edition as well. But regardless, the secondary stuff has changed. I know that's one thing I could say I noticed about myself the most is the fact that the cards are so random and that you can get one that's completely trying to get you into corner of the board. And sometimes you get so focused as an orc player, as a player as an all, where you're just like press to the primary, press to kill the opponent. And then all of a sudden I'm like, oh, I could have left that bike actually a little further back. That way I can go score that. Or oh, I wish I actually had an extra orc truck so I can run around there and do that secondary as well. I see the utility in more trucks. So that's something that I learned as I was practicing as well that I had to get better at was my actual secondary preparation and understanding, right? It's almost like card counting, where once you start knowing all the secondaries by heart and you know which ones are happening, you know what's happening next that's available to you, which just comes with reps as well. Or I could sit there and read them all, but I'm a little busy for that.
All right, Christian with a welcome back to me. Thank you. I'm glad to be back. Even though I had a lot of fun in Italy, I'm very motivated to get back to work and improve the channel, improve the quality of our content, and just keep giving you guys more.
Yeah, because we've seen growth even while David was gone, guys. Like we like 100 subs or something like that. But when he was here, was definitely going up. All of our analytics as a whole were going up when he was here because he was able to give that diverse content instead of just the live streams constantly.
Yeah, no, I just want to take a moment to thank Eddie and congratulate him on carrying the boats while I was gone. He did a really good job. He went through the whole upgrade of our setup with some assistance from one of our friends, but even managing the streams by himself and doing my side of things, doing 2 roles is not easy, and he did a tremendous job, and I just want to tell him I'm thankful for carrying the boats.
Yes, sir. And Christian was helpful, and
Christian
also
too. Thanks for showing up and helping out with the stream.
And the community was pretty nice and responsive as well. Once they seen I was doing it alone, they kind of gave me, they were nice to me about it. They were chill, and then they also gave good responses to keep me encouraged and motivated to keep doing it well. So it's the whole community thing, guys. Like we always say, it's the rise of the green tide, as I like to say.
It's a WAAAGH effort from all of us. And Frank, don't forget to use those tokens to keep up with the battle shock that I made for you.
Yes,
it
sir.
helps, believe it or not.
Yes, sir. Definitely will.
I don't know if you have them
yes, I do.
on the table. No.
Yeah, they were right there in the bag.
Oh, I got them.
Yep. Let's go.
And our buddy Frank 3D printed these battle shock coins. tokens.
Yeah, it definitely helps because I would just forget if he didn't do that.
Battle shocked on one side.
Test on the
And
other.
then test required, just to remind you that you got to roll that die.
Oh, sorry, I don't know why I did that. Okay.
Yeah, that's one thing in 40K is having tokens just to remind you of all these rules or buffs that you put on units are very beneficial to the
Yes,
game.
sir.
'Cause there's so much you got to think about during the game and keep track of. So I highly recommend if you have access to getting any of those. You also have your new hype song to psych you up.
Yeah, it's on my
Pre-match.
phone.
What is this?
He sent a song in Discord. I hurt myself. Yeah, because I just started seeing David like an hour before the stream, guys, so I didn't get to show him that. But I'll definitely be showing him. We got a song sent to us in the Discord that he made, and it's like the awesome theme song. Like I should listen to that right when I get pumped
Can
into
we
it.
play it?
I mean, I think so. Can we? Or do we gotta send it to you? Yeah.
Oh, then we should.
I see it right here. It says Jumanji.
He copyrights us.
Yeah, so I can show you guys. Right there, Jumanji.
It's time to WAAAGH.
Yeah, it's time to WAAAGH. Should I play it like this? Would that be weird?
Oh,
I don't know. I'm gonna try it.
Go on, grab the boys, Will. Start the WAAAGH and make some noise with War's tactics, forget setting off hard walk. Whenever it's cropping time.
And then it keeps going. There you go.
That's awesome, dude. Thank you.
Oh, I actually had the mic.
Very
Sorry,
creative.
guys. The mic's actually like this. I put it like this. I'm an idiot. Actually, I'm getting pumped. You're right. That actually worked. I'm gonna listen to that. That was actually a good shout out. I'm gonna listen to that right before the games. And yeah, I'll show it to David too. See if we can incorporate it into a video.
Yeah, we're gonna get a soundboard here. Now that I'm back, I'm gonna start looking into that and try to incorporate that. And we have some other sounds that have been provided from other fans, community members, and friends.
I had the phone upside down like an idiot. So goddamn.
It's all right. All right, so the clip. Hey, we have a small friendly tournament coming in November at WAAAGH. Was wondering if it's okay to advertise on Discord. There's only 3 of us, and the organizer wants more people.
Of course, why not?
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah, of course. That's what the community is for. You don't need to ask for that. People post, I mean, it's nice that you do, but you don't really need to worry too much about that. If it's orc related or, any events related, it can be promoted. Why not? People sometimes just don't know. They're not used to BCP, new to the Warhammer as a whole. That's what the community is about, So, yeah, I'm sure that would help some people kind of get more into them if they just start seeing them regularly posted.
All right, Jumanji with some very nice words. It says, Eddie crushed it while you were gone, but it's great to have you back, David.
Oh, thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you, you get. Crushed it with that song. To be headbanging the headphones on. People are going to be like, what's happening? Mm-hmm.
And Sandor, as the Mad Doc says, it takes all sorts. That's right.
Yep, exactly.
We all have different skills. We all bring different things to the table, and together, that's how we grow something great.
That's true, guys.
The clip, nice. Thank you. I'm the only orc player, and I've played everyone so many times.
They're all used to you now and stuff. They know the rule. They know the orc rules now.
Yeah, LodgeCon is just gonna turn into a giant wall.
That'd be pretty funny. Like when we covered that wall tournament as well.
Oh yeah, WAAAGH.
WAAAGH.
Yeah. That was awesome.
The Pale Orc hit us up too. He's waiting for you to respond.
Oh yeah. I saw it. I just didn't have.
Yeah, he wants to. Yeah, shout out to Pale Orc.
Yeah, shout out to Pale Orc. He's gonna be doing some work for us to help improve our content.
Presentation.
Dogdacious. That song will be added and sit next to What a Wonderful. Whoa.
Dude, the punchlines are undefeated on the internet, I swear.
All right. Yeah, we can go over your list if you'd like to know.
Yeah.
If you want to go, or do you just want?
Yeah, you can just read it, I guess, real quick, and then see what the chat responds with, and then you can just ask me why maybe I pick things. I think it's pretty straightforward, but I didn't spam anything. It's not like a Squig Hog theme. It's not like a mech WA. It's literally kind of how I like to play 40K as a whole. Like my orcs is just a mixture of useful units as tools,
Right. All right. So for characters, Eddie's bringing a Beast Boss, Captain Badrock, Maz, a knob on Smash a Squig with Head Wappa's Kill Choppa, of course. A naked knob on Smash a Squig. A War Boss with Super Cyborg Body. Then his Battle on Units, 10-man Beast Snagga Boys. 3 trucks. 10-man unit of Flash Kits. 2 11-man Gretchen. A 10-man Knobs unit. Then 2 3-man Squighog Boys and 1 6-man Squighog Boy unit. 2 units of Storm Boys and a unit of War Bikers.
Bam. That's it.
All right. A lot of utility, a lot of units.
Yeah, I had to kind of try to find that in between. I think me personally, I do like to play with more trash even. A list I was running before this was like 5 trucks when they had like 10-man units of boys in them. Like 3 of them were 10-man units of boys. 1 was knobs. Was Flash Kits. I really did like that list a lot too. But I was going for a little bit more of like killing potential as well as, I think that list also went up in points when the Beast Boss went up. So it made it harder to take the boys and such. So with this list, I feel like the knobs are necessary, as some people like are back and forth about them. I've never really been back and forth. I've always said they are our scalpel unit, as they're pretty much the only reliable source of -2 AP on our list with the volume that's necessary and enough strength to deal with elite enemy infantry as well. Something that sometimes I do like to do also is, depending on the matchup, let's say like Custodes, for example, right, or Gravis Marines, or Terminators, or whatever it may be. If it's not going to mess me up and set me up for a later turn getting charged, I sometimes will let my Flash Kits get close enough to debuff that unit before my knobs run in and make them -1 toughness, and that does make them even more reliable into combat if I get myself winning them on 2s, as we already hit on, generally be 4s, then +1 hit would be 3s, but when you're going into Custodes, they're going to make you hit on 4s again, which that can just swing your damage all over the place. So having that little tech, bringing them down a little toughness does actually matter. Or even against Gravis Marines, whatever you may be, another tough 5 army, that's something a little people kind of overlook with the Flash Kits, that they're still knobs. They still have their aura buff from Captain Badrock, or debuff, sorry. And, but generally you just want to put them somewhere where you can overwatch the whole game. That's more like a late game maneuver or you really need to throttle and you can't risk the knobs bouncing. But knobs are important. Flash Kits have yet to let me down. I know that people are like, well, I don't know, like, I was not sure. Wasn't sure if I wanted to jump on the hype train like most people don't like to, but having a unit that can finally shoot, gain respect for the enemy, counter enemies that want to countercharge your units because they start to move and you overwatch for them. They're moderately durable. I'm going to say they're great, but they're enough to where like small arms fire isn't going to pick up the whole unit. So if someone's going to put fire into them, they're not going to put it into other important units on the list. And generally, people would just focus on the Beast Snaggas anyways. Like any version of the Beast Snagga, whether it's the Boys on Foot or the Beast Squigs, they're going to focus on that first. And it hasn't failed one game yet where the Flash Kits where it became a priority for some reason. Maybe as the meta changes, or maybe at the GT, people will actually know their potential and start doing it. But in none of the practice games do people really commit to the Flash Kits. They're kind of too far back, and there's generally too much other stuff in their face that they have to deal with first. So Flash Kits get multiple turns of shooting. There's been a couple games where I've been able to hit on 4s with them, which just makes them even more annoying. So yeah, Flash Kits are great. The one tech piece that I kind of wanted to say that isn't a huge tech piece, not a big deal, but I do like it, is I did decide to take a knob on Smash a Squig, like a bare bones one, but I put him with the 3-man unit. And some people might think that's weird, or why would you do that? When you think about the points cost, the amount of wounds he has, the amount of attacks he has, and what he does for the unit. For 60 points, it's a steal, but also it keeps that unit viable to win fights, to punch up a little bit, or if you start to lose one Squig, maybe to Overwatch or a counter charge, that knob is very useful because he allows the remaining 2 guys plus himself to still punch and destroy, 150-point units, 100-point units, whatever it may be, reliably. And if you normally just lose one Squighog Boy from your 3-man unit and you don't have that knob in there, the unit is essentially declawed because your jaws are hitting on 4s, the guy on top still hitting on 3s. It can go either way. You might just bounce whatever you try to hit. So there's been several games where that 3-man unit plus the knob, I lose one Squig from gun, small arms fire, whatever it may be. People don't prioritize it, and then it starts running around and just beating up all these small units that are used to scoring the game, and it's reliably punching stuff, finishing off thicker units, throwing its bombs around. It's it's something that I wasn't sure about, but then later as things passed, I did go on. But I still have my throwaway Squig Hog Boy, and it's not necessarily that it's a throwaway, but there is a Squig Hog Boy unit that sometimes has to go first, sometimes end up getting in the line of fire. That one doesn't have a sergeant. That one's sometimes just for trying to get on primary or stuff like that too. So there's a both, but I don't think I really cared to have 2 giant bricks, as the WTC terrain is very dense, and I still wanted to occupy the table, like I always say. So I just split them up. The what would be a 6-man unit, I split that up into 2 3-man units, stuck the knob with that one, and then I still have my big brick with that Wappa skill chopper like everybody else. But yeah, I mean, if you guys think that's weird or if you agree with me, whatever, let me know. But I thought I'm gonna throw that out into the ether. And yeah, and then of course 2 Stormboy units. The reason why I bring a biker unit instead of 3 Stormboy units is because I don't have that truck to sit back on my objective. And if I go into an army that has easy indirect or small indirect, they're just going to pick up the grats that I leave back there, right? Or if it's like Eldar and they want to teleport over there with the Incarn, I'm giving them something to kill. But if I instead put those guys in the strategic reserves, I can put my war bikers there instead, and they can withstand that damage if they have to. So it's just like a little flex. The war bikers can be used either to run around and still touch and screen and box people out and jump on objectives or do actions, or if in a real pinch where I'm scared of indirect on my home objective, then I'll do that. Then I'll put war bikers there for a little bit, stuff like that.
Yeah, those war bikers won't be easy to shift.
Yeah, T6, 4 up,
Yep.
you know, so it is what it is.
That's a good idea you have there.
Yeah, I didn't. Yeah.
So Jumanji actually has a question about your flash kits. He's asking, how long do you normally hold your flash kits in their truck, or is it matchup dependent?
So when I first started using them, I would say I was too hesitant. I was leaving them in the truck. I was worried about what would happen to them in response, and that pretty much never was to my advantage. Even if I still won the game, I always felt like I could have got more out of them and that I could have got them out earlier. So far, I'm sure, you know, as I play more different factions, maybe that could change as the answer. Maybe like against GSC, I would hold off a little longer because they're going to come and outflank, wait for them to come out and then do it. But then again, the whole point of the flash kits is to threaten the Overwatch from 24-inch range and get real efficiency out of it with the rerolls, mess people up. I mean, there's been times where I got like 25 hits from Overwatch. Like, it was ridiculous. Or just 15 even is solid on its own. But you get, you know, 10 sixes, and then they just sustain, and it's all of a sudden 20. And then everybody's like, wait, what just happened? And you're like, yeah, that really just happened. And then you just pick up someone's unit that they were never expecting because they're so used to wanting to Overwatch you that you catch them. So I think you kind of have to be willing for the flash kits to be out there. And in the end, if they do have the firepower for that, either they've already destroying everything else, or now your pressure melee units are getting in there even faster and full capacity. So as it's gone so far, most people underestimate them, don't really understand even when you explain it to them, and they don't prioritize them. Therefore, what I tend to do is get them out even like a turn 2, where I'll set them up in a gun lane and then prepare to Overwatch or prepare for the countercharging units, right? Because they know you're coming. And now with how their game is for our WAAAGH, they know when our WAAAGH is, even if we go second. So people will tend to set up, oh, I'm going to move block you here. I'm going to set up my countercharge here. And then flash just kind of set you up where you're like, well, I'm going to be at this angle. And when you go to move that unit to come and get to me, I'm going to Overwatch you, either diminish it or straight up kill it. And that's happened a couple times. In the games that I didn't choose to do that, I did regret it. So yeah, I would say
you usually have the flash kits cover your Squig Hog boys, or
I tend to. So they've kind of, you can do that, but Squig Hog boys, I'm usually like putting them in like areas where they can kind of more be completely hidden, or they're just straight up going down the pipe and they're around Maz. So what I actually use them is when I find the biggest lanes in the game that I assume people are going to try to gunline me from or try to set up counter charges, and that's where I put the flash kits, where I'll put them in the train, pop out, maybe shoot once, and then the next turn I'll jump them out of it or whatever, you know? Okay. So I do tend to have at least one firepower from the truck, one shot of it, like from the truck, like turn 1 or something. If someone goes to throw something there, try to kill their scoring unit if I can. And if people pop my truck, it's like, okay, well, they were going to get out anyway, so they're probably okay for the most part. But
right,
that hasn't happened too often.
You're not expecting to completely wipe out the counter charge unit. You just want to weaken it, so
yeah,
when it does come in, it doesn't do as much damage to your own units.
Yeah, exactly. And gain some respect, make them double think or position in a way that it's not optimal for them. But so far, like I say, most of the time people will just target your squigs anyways. They're going to prioritize their squigs. They're not going to prioritize the trucks, because the trucks can even, you know, if you have your WAAGH going, you can bounce. There's been several games where I bounced off anti-tank firepower because I had a 5-up invuln on my truck, and then they're like, you know, so or the truck has its own built-in 6-up invuln that makes it survive from something that it shouldn't. So some players will really just reliably try to diminish your WAAAGH boys as soon as possible, or they'll just try to go into Maz.
Yeah, and the WAAAGH boys are well known to be a threat, so logically it makes sense that they're going to want to deal with that threat first, especially if it's closer. And yeah, using your flash kits in that manner is very smart. I think it takes someone to have multiple reps into orcs to realize what's getting set up there.
Because I get worried about them. I get worried about them getting killed. The first couple times I played with them, I was really like, oh, they're just knobs, and oh man, they're so expensive. And I like to play with trash. I like to play with just a lot of cheap stuff. Like I said, I had boys and trucks most of the time in this edition. Didn't even care to have a lot of squigs. Sometimes I was running like 9. I just moved up to 12. But yeah, flash kits, they've never let me down so far this edition as their utility as a whole. And if I really have to in a pinch, they can charge late game. They have 4 attacks base each. They're strength 5. Captain Badrook reducing their toughness by 1 to their fighting, so they're going to wound other enemy infantry on 4s or 3s in good conditions. So I can see why a lot of people say that they're their favorite unit on the orcs or like a must take. I've got that as feedback before, and I didn't really necessarily feel it, and so I really got used to playing with flash kits, and I was like, oh yeah, they really are great utility.
Jumanji makes a good point that I've heard you mention multiple times. As you say, don't forget, they are knobs.
Yes.
So they're dual purpose.
They're knobs, yeah, dual purpose models. Thanks to you. If you excellent, that's a good way, exactly how I'd like to put it. They're dual purpose knobs, and a lot of people kind of forget that you know, they're expensive, you get scared, but we aren't some shooty gets, you know. We like to get in there and crump too. Not early game because you need them, but when you start getting to turn, like even like that, if you're going second on turn 3, turn 4, get to that middle objective, then they're trying to come out with their leftover units, and you're like, no, overwatched you. Okay, now you're gonna come fight me. Okay, well, Captain Badrook makes you weak. I beat you up anyways. There's a couple guys left. Captain Badrook has his 4-up invuln, stuff like that. I mean, against Custodes, Captain Badrook ended up surviving some leftover termies and a captain that charged the flash kits unit, which allowed them to not move on to an objective because they were stuck in combat with him, and they ended up getting 0 primary, and then I ended up winning the game. So like, you can just forget that even Captain Badrook on his own with this 4-up invuln will sometimes just hold off. You know, not a lot of orc units have 4-up invulns. Why are you smiling like that?
It's because I'm listening to you, but also reading the chat.
Oh, I'm like, what am I missing? Sorry, because I'm not looking, guys, as you can see too. I'm trying to paint so far.
Right, Sandor says, yeah, I think you want to view the truck as their drop-off mechanism. They're a lot more effective out of the truck than in.
And that truck, you want it to start moving around, getting ready for secondaries, to be honest. That's what I found more utility is, like, get them out, get that truck moving around for your secondaries, maybe put it on an objective, screen people. Like, yeah, the truck on its own is still highly useful once they get out. So I'm almost happy to get them out in a good spot. Once I'm there, get out, there's a good lane, truck, keep going, go do something, go tank shock something, whatever it is. So I don't have any real reason that I want to keep them on me and stuff. And the times I have, I pretty much always regretted it, where I held off too long thinking I need to keep them alive. No, you need to get them in the fight.
Yeah, that's one thing I like about the edition is that your transports can be useful and more than just a transport.
Yeah.
Like they actually get to play the game and the mission, and
even more useful than just a gun platform. Yeah. You know, they made it so they have purpose in both ways.
All right, Thomas Hepp. We live.
Oh.
And he gives us a whoa.
Oh. I ended up having the purple out of my hands right now.
Also, McDavid back. Whoop. Yep. Glad to be back.
Yeah, you can do the tech stuff now.
Never
so
getting rid of me either.
You can do the tech stuff. Like I said, we can have the short form content because he does the editing. He does, and then he helps with the topics, and then I get to do more research and stuff while he prepares all the other stuff. So it's very important that he's around because as much as I like doing the live streams in the long form to get the channel growing and to just entertain more people as a whole and let people kind of get at least a feel for what we're looking for and doing here, the short form helps a lot for that. Because if you're like, here's an hour-long video and it's just my face, like, they're not likely to stay sometimes. You know what I'm saying? I don't blame them. I'd be like, ugh.
And Sandor, flash kits are actually cheaper than knobs.
Yeah.
LOL.
Yeah, I know, right? Even with the points the decrease and such. And also on my list, the reason why I put the War Boss in that unit with the Feel No Pain is one, I felt like the Beast Snagga boys, once they do their one-shot thing, people just annihilate them. That for a Feel No Pain isn't really going to save that Beast Boss in any situation that I've had him left over so far, as people put a lot of firepower into that unit once they know what it can do and what it does. They're like, no. And the boys don't really tank anything for it, right? But the War Boss, even if you find something really durable and it takes a while to chop through all those boys, what it also does is the War Boss is important, as you know the boys are going to last usually 2 combat phases for the most part or something like that. It makes it so the enemy doesn't have as much incentive to try to precision you out. Because if you do get that War Boss out of that unit, you've almost neutered that Knobs unit because it can start hitting on 4s. And that just makes it so the math goes the other way. So, like, to try to deter all these armies that get to instantly kill your characters, kind of like World Eaters, or maybe like Blade Champion, or maybe even a Typhus from Death Guard, right? If you just have that knob in there, there's a chance that he might just try to precision him out for the CP, 1 CP, and really neuter that Knobs unit. So I decided he's the best option for that far up Feel No Pain. So that's where I left it off with that. Maybe I'll regret it, but so far I have not.
All right, Charles Gold with a whoa. Can't wait for Tactical Tuesdays.
Yeah, exactly.
So glad the Gork and Mork boys is back together.
Yeah, that's gonna be, like I said, the more short form. I don't know if that'll be live all the time. I'm not sure we'll end up with that, since it is a presentation. I wouldn't mind it, to be honest. It just makes it a different kind of I don't know, experience, I guess, and information.
Yeah, if you want to inform people what that is, including me.
Oh, well, he just called it what he called it, but it's essentially the short form videos where we do tactics on certain units and such, like the Mega Knobs. The one that I posted and I put the wrong day, and then everybody's waiting in the chat like, where's this get at? You know, I'm over here having a good time, like on my own, just working out, you know, and such. And then I read the Discord and they're like, hey, you alive, bro? I'm like, oh God, what did I do? So yeah, it's just, that's more like the tactics aspect, right? We do live, we show meta and stuff like that, but I thought doing short form videos covering a couple units, a couple topics, once we get better cameras and presentation, we can enhance those videos. But for the most part, we'll start with units and their combinations, their utility, how I really see them being used, even though, you know, for example, Mega Knobs, like I said, sometimes people will see them and say, I want to go punch and kill with it. But more of experienced players or people who played them a little bit more understand that it's more about their durability to stand on an objective and not necessarily go anywhere, right? Because you have to remember they're also trying to use art as nails, just like your Squigog boys. So it's like finding that balance that you have to kind of understand what your units are doing, and their capabilities, units they can go with, keywords that we forget, right? I think a lot of times people forget maybe Squighog boys have grenades, and that's caught players off guard a lot of times, where I'll take that 3-man unit with the knob, I'll throw the bomb squig in there, I'll throw a grenade into that unit, and then I'll charge it. And all of a sudden I've torn down something that was way punching up over their point cost, and usually catch people off guard. They're like, oh, what? You're what? All these mortal wounds, and now you're beating me up? Like, it's can be easily overlooked. And there's several things in the orc book and index that we can talk about. Also, sorry, I'm getting a Gorkanaut, like I said earlier, for the new people that got here in stream. Getting a Gorkanaut from the big boss on Discord when I go to the GT tomorrow. So that should be pretty awesome.
Heck yeah. So what are some matchups that you're feeling good about for tomorrow?
Well, as a whole, I think I might regret this. I'm scared to say that good about, because we don't know how it's going to go. But I would say Space Marines don't really usually pose too much of a hard counterplay into orcs as a whole. I would say Necrons are kind of slow, depending on who goes first and such like that. If I can get to the objective soon enough, kind of block them out, make them continuously move backwards, maybe fall back and such, start putting up my score as their damage isn't reliable enough to destroy me, depending on what kind of list they have. And then stuff that I'm a little more worried about, I would say, is I'm still on the fence about Custos, depending on the list, as they do have like really, really reliable damage output, and the consistent fact that they can do fight first across the field makes it so they can just neuter your units, and their rerolls on their small alarms fire makes it so they can chip your units down when you fight. I didn't really appreciate that. And then I would say I haven't got a game into Chaos Marines yet, and I know we do have good plan to them, but when you really aren't sure exactly what they can do or all the options, even though you know the major options, that could kind of catch me off guard too. Eldar, I already said them, but everybody knows about them. And what was another one? I'd like to see how the Knights and Chaos Knights games can kind of go now. So I would say, as you can see, I'm not Beast Naga spammed. I don't have multiple Beast bosses. I have just enough that I can handle some really thick units, but I can't do all of them. So I really think, let's say if there's a small brigand or some kind of knight that runs up on me, maybe somehow getting the -1 toughness might help me so the knobs can go in there and tear it down. And the last but not least is I don't know what I would do against double or triple Norn Emissary or the Assimilator, right? Their ability to have a 2-up armor save, the Nexus gives a -1 AP, reduce AP, excuse me. So they have 2-up armor save, they reduce AP by 1. When they get to the objective, they have a 5-up heal no pain, and they have 15 OC. That's something that I'm not personally sure what I would do against that. And even when I spoke to Brad Chester, I was like, what'd you do? And he's like, I ran away from it. Like the one that there was, and his list only had one, and he did lose the game. Of course, it's an exceptional player and under different circumstances. But the point is that I have to deal with multiple of those on a mission that has only, like, let's say 5 objectives, right? That really becomes like a troublesome problem where I have to hope the mortal wounds go through. I have to hope that, like I just said, either my squigs go off, but really that would a unit that I would consider declaring the WAAAGH, putting the knobs in there, getting the flash gets close enough to reduce his toughness, and then hope that they can spike and just destroy him on wounding on 4s. So that's the list that I'm not looking forward to, and there's a lot of Tyranids, and a lot of them are going to be using Norn Emissaries at this event. So yeah.
Yeah, I think with one, you have a chance. You can either play around it or just commit enough into it to deal with it. But we do know that there's one person running 3.
Yeah.
And at that point, you have to deal with
and
them.
3 Maliceptors. And the Maliceptors do good into everything that's on the orc list.
So that's just a very mean list. And yeah, I mean, I've rolled out some of these, like 2 Gladiator Lancers into just 1 Norm Emissary, and you either do no damage or very minimal. And
yeah,
that's a very powerful weapon with all the rerolls.
Yeah, that would be a unit where you're like, I want 3 beast bosses, just dev wound him, right? Like,
yeah,
that's sadly, and that's it. Oh yeah, Badric only works in its infantry, exactly. So you can't even do it against him either. So even worse. Yeah, and that's why it's always good to read the rules all over again. But usually I've been only using it against infantry. I've never used it against any. Oops, I just dropped some. I haven't used it against anything that wasn't infantry, but I was just thinking like, what? Yeah, I was thinking out loud, like, what would I even do against multiple if I did have to run into them? And I do know that there's going to be lists with multiple of them on this event. So, yeah, that was just, it was a thought process, but either way, it would be hard regardless.
And the one thing you have going for you besides primaries is being able to play secondaries better. I mean, how many points is it for three of those and 3 Maliceptors?
Yeah, I think on Norn, let's say enormous enemies, like, yeah, you have Exocrines and Swarms, essentially. Okay. So you're looking to shoot, and then the Maliceptor. So you're just playing mostly prime. Oh, you have a Biovore to do the secondaries with the spores as well, I assume. So yeah, they have a little bit, not a lot. So yeah, but if you're reducing your AP and you're taking 2-up saves to all the Squig Hog boys, you're essentially relying on the beast boss to tear him down, and whatever chip damage you can get through on him. So it is what it is. Whatever, it'll be an experience, and then I can tell you guys about it after, maybe what I could have done to counter it, or maybe I overestimated it, stuff like that. If any of you guys have gone into it, you get to give your feedback as well. I don't know if anybody in chat has played against that yet, but that was something that I immediately was paying attention to when it came out. I was like, ooh, orcs are going to have to deal with that, especially if you're not running all beast snaggers. If you're running all beast snaggers, you're like, I'm going to dev wound you and I'm going to punch you with all the squigs. I don't have that much. I have, utility. You say something?
Did you mention, how do you feel about going to Voltan?
I keep going back and forth on Voltan. I think it's almost like, they're slow as heck. You just throw up the score as much as you can. Try not to let them get great legs of sights on you, and then hope that they're not, of course they can get the +1 to hit and everything like that from their units, but that's just like 4 of their main units. And if my main units are in like transports, right? Let's say he wants to do it to knobs, he wants to do it to Flash Gits and Squig Hog Boys and Mods, right? Let's just say he does that. I still have other units of Squig Hog Boys and stuff that can run around, play the mission, and still fight him and do things as well. So I would hope at that point, whatever's left over, he hits on 4s, and I just kind of tank it and survive and keep throwing up the mission, because those guys only move like 5 or 4 inches or something like that sometimes. So
slow.
yeah, it depends on the list as well. If he's running the 3 units of the Hurstkarn or their version of Terminators that ignore modifiers to shooting, get +1 to wound, that could be very annoying for my Squig Hog Boys to deal with as well. So, yep.
I think people try to deep strike those.
Yes.
At least a few of those.
Yep.
So the good thing is you have plenty of units to screen out. And,
Yes.
Force them into positions they might not want to be.
Yeah, that's what I'm just hoping I can get the movement off. Who goes first, stuff like that can kind of matter too in close games as well. So, and the cards, right? I mean, there's been a couple games where I just don't get really good cards in the beginning. They're telling me to go to the capture enemy outpost or something or whatever, and I'm like, what the heck? I don't have warp spiders, dude. Relax. So yeah, that's just part of the game though in the process.
All right, Jumanji.
Oh, I was gonna say I thought I've seen that too.
Well, real quick, the clip says, I always forget Snickra and Commandos has stealth, which could have saved me so much.
Oh, yeah. And, when you're getting it new, playing, there's a lot of stuff going on. It's easy to forget minor rules here and there. I know, like, early in the edition, one time I was playing and I was going against Gravis Marines, and I declared the wall, and the Squig Hog Boys, the Squigs on the actual Hog Boys, so the mounts, are strength 6 and knobs are Gravis 6. In the first fight phase I did with the first unit, I forgot that I had gone +1 strength because the WAAAGH. So then I was winning them on 4s, and then the next unit I was like, oh yeah. So I get it too. There's like just rules you can kind of forget very easily.
Yeah, it's always good to reread your code or index.
Yeah, like I was just saying with the Captain Badrook, and I was wrong. So yeah, it happens all the time.
Right, Jumanji, as you guys improve the stream, what's the chance we get some tabletop simulator of showing how you guys approach situations and stuff, either live or pre-recorded?
I think that comes down to like time and availability, right? Because we would also just, what I like about tabletop simulators, it gives you all the units you would want. You can position them on the field, but that's like straight comp play, like kind of tactics right there. It's good to show some certain tactics that we would do. But that's mostly like competitive players that are like, I want to run through 100 scenarios in a short amount of time, compared to like here, we're a good balance of competitive, tactical, and, meta all in one. And it's about like entertainment as well. So it's like, I would kind of rather move towards battle reports, as we have a lot of armies that are fully painted and based as well, and get a couple of those art that are like orc thematic, orc theme, fun stuff like that as well. Not necessarily always that, but that could be an option if I was going to explain, like I said, Tactical Tuesday, Orc Tactics Tuesday. So that's the same. It is in the ballpark, but I don't know how common it would be.
Yeah, we'll definitely explore that. We'll have to weigh the pros and cons between doing something like that or just using our actual models on the table and physically moving them ourselves as we're explaining situations.
It's just how big we grow, because right now we've only been doing this a couple months, and David and I both work a lot. We work overtime as well. We still try to go to the gym like 4 to 5 times a week, and like cook and be healthy-ish as possible. Like I lost like 75 pounds in the last year or so. So it's like David lost weight too. So we're trying to balance all that while still being relevant here and bring you guys fun entertainment as well. So it's something to be thought of, but it's just how it comes down to like time management,
Yes. And we both have a holistic view on 40K and just life in general. And that's why we try to focus on all these aspects in life, because how you do one thing affects how you do everything. So, it just takes time management, like Eddie says, but we definitely have aspirations to improve the content, do all these things. It's just a matter of time, and hope that you guys can be patient with us.
Yeah, David was like, that's why I was kind of like, man, I can't believe I signed up for that GT. I did it the 1 month that David was gone, when it could have been the most helpful for him to actually be here so I can get more practice games in and more prep. Instead, I signed up when I had the least amount of time. And that was something that I think I jumped on the grenade a little too soon, because there's an event in 2 weeks from now I could have just done. And, that's a part of the effect, like we said, is I'm gonna probably suffer a little bit due to not doing that as excellent as I could have. And that's kind of like how we don't want to approach the channel as a whole too. Don't do things just for the sake of doing it sometimes, because then it could just bring down what people think of our quality as a whole or how much effort we put into it. So we want like a good balance. That way it's like entertaining, fun, thematic, but also informative. So it's not that we're dismissing of any of that. It's just letting you guys know the way we approach this at the moment, at least, right?
Right. And I'd say for sure, if we could, we would do everything all at once. But life has taught us that otherwise.
Yeah. I mean, as you guys can see, if I have the event tomorrow and I'm still painting a couple models here, I might have messed up a little bit, right? Or just not managed my time effectively. Like, it's just a lot going on. So normally I would have everything done already the day before, be rereading rules, be looking over my list again, stuff like that. And instead I'm literally like still painting. So, I'm beating myself up a little bit here, but it's okay.
All right, Christian says the main thing with Votan is their high toughness, and they just make you take tons of saves when they get +1 to wound. Lots of T6 model and T12.
Yeah, I mean the T12, like we can only hope for our Snaggers to go into. Obviously, nothing else is going to matter. And then toughness 6 is a nice point to where again you want your Snaggers to do it, stuff like that, or that's where the Captain Badrook aura can come into play when those. Oh, but they can be modified, right? Yeah, they can be modified. But where you might want that to come into play, that way your knobs can effectively murder them and wound them on 2s, even if they have good armor saves, stuff like that. That is very important though to keep in mind. So thanks for bringing that up. And like I always say about Tau as well, is sometimes those armies that are just putting enough dice on you, and we're orcs because we don't have great armor saves, stuff like that. You don't like that as well. Just like we like to throw dice at everybody and get through their great saves and their great abilities, armies that do that to us are bothersome to us because we don't have great durability to like high volumes of stuff. Just throwing dice at us can work. Like Squigs, 4 up armor save, give us -1 AP, +1 to wound, winning us on 5s, but have a ton of volume. You're gonna start picking up Squigs, no problem.
All right, Sandor Horniak trying to set up TTS makes my stoner brain hurt.
Yeah, I get that. I mean, sometimes when I used to watch some TTS, I felt like that too, where I was like, what? And then it took me a while to get more into it, where I was like, okay, I understand why people do this. You can go through so many scenarios in a very short amount of time and get a lot of information.
Yeah, it's got a little bit of a learning curve.
Yes.
And Thomas says, get them gains, war bosses.
Whoa! Yeah, for sure.
We out here trying.
We're trying, dude.
Jumanji, well-rounded is well-balanced.
Yes. And I think that's what the orc community is more like anyways. I mean, for the most part, orc players are a mixture of like creative, fun, thematic, and then just competitive enough to just collect teeth and crump kids, right? It's not like you're going to meet an orc player necessarily besides maybe Brad Chester, very rarely, but most orc players are really just about the experience, loving their faction, getting games in, won all the time. It's really just me right now putting the pressure on myself to perform just because I know I'll be observed. But if it wasn't even being observed, chances are I'll just be like, whatever, too, So, yeah, I think that's better for the community, and it represents our community better to be well-balanced.
Yes. Wicked Joe, congrats on the 75-pound weight loss. That's a huge accomplishment. That takes self-commitment.
Well, thank you. It was a thing. I had a car accident, messed up my hip and my back a bit, and I had almost given up on like other activities and jiu-jitsu and Muay Thai. I gave up on all the physical stuff. COVID happened, but that's actually how I got into Warhammer. It was after the car accident. I couldn't do the physical things I normally do, and I found a GW store and I started going there. A bunch of people quit playing orcs there because the orcs are, like I always say, a kind of skill-based faction as a whole. And they quit when they found out I was playing orcs. I had 1 box of orc boys and grots. And then people were like, I heard you're going to collect orcs. I have this secret bundle of $100 or $200 or $300 worth of stuff. I'm never going to play them. Here you go. And people gave me like battle wagons and stuff. So that's actually how I got into Warhammer as well. So it was like a double-sided sword. Yeah, it messed me up in certain ways and took away from me. But at the same time, it gave me all of this as well. So I just take it for what it is. But thank you about the weight loss. It was an adventure.
Yeah, and that commitment that Eddie showed, we're both showing towards the channel. And just remember, guys, we've only been doing this for a few months. We're going to be here for years, whether you like it or not.
Yeah.
So just wait and see what we got in store for you.
I'm making progress on these guys. Look at that. I got 2 colors down already. and the base isn't done. Oh, I might finish this a little sooner than I thought. Not mad about it.
I think the clip wants us to review the list. I can
Yeah.
reread it again.
Yeah.
Just so for anyone
Nice
else
and
that joined.
slow.
Nice and slow. So the big boss is running for his characters: a beast boss, Captain Badruck, Maz, a knob on Smash a Squig with Head Wappa's Kill Choppa, a naked knob on Smash a Squig, then the war boss with Super Cyborg Body, a unit of Beast Snagga Boys, 3 trucks, the 10-man unit of Flash Gits, 2 11-man Gretchen units, a 10-man unit of Knobs, 2 3-man Squighog Boys, 1 6-man Squighog Boys. Then to round out the list, 2 Storm Boy units and 1 Warbiker unit. And I don't know if you want to quickly just kind of hit the points.
Everything's pretty what people can expect. I would say the cyborg body is really to deter people trying to precision the war boss out. There's been games where like even the Swarm Lord would have difficulty trying to precision out a war boss, and if he has that feel no pain, he might be deterred from attempting. Maybe a blade champion, since they get to fight first, you don't really want him to be like, oh yeah, I'll just kill your war boss and your unit's hitting on 5s for the rest of the game. Haha. And then he's not going to save you, but the Master of Executioners gets to auto kill you no matter what. But he's another unit that would precision and to try to take the war boss out. So I want to deter people from killing my war boss to debuff my knobs. So he's the one who got the feel no pain instead of throwing at something on a beast boss, where in reality, the 10 Snagga Boys are just there to deliver him sometimes, right? And even if one's left, you're like, all right, I still get to reroll the hit roll. You're not, and in the other way, the war boss is very important to the knobs to keep them durable, to keep them hitting better. So he needs the one who really needs to stay alive on that. And then the other guys already have built-in feel no pains. So yeah, it was a good choice to put him to feel no pain on the war boss. Because generally you're not going to have to fall back anyways. If someone's going to stay there, you're going to charge them. If they're still alive, the next 5 phase, you're going to fight them. And then if they're still alive, what? And if they're not, you're probably dead. So feel no pain felt good. And then the other thing is, like I've heard and I've said, a 3-man unit of Squighog Boys is good for skirmishing. As soon as you lose one of those Squighog Boys, you got 2 guys, then the mount's hitting on 4s, and then the guy on top's hitting on 3s. You can't reliably kill anything that's around 100 points or greater anymore. When you put that knob in there for 60 points, even if you drop one Squighog Boy from Overwatch or Small Arms Fire, that unit still has effective capability of beating up any unit within 100 points to 150 points for the most part, depending, of course, on their armor saves and stuff. But like, it still goes in there with a good volume of activity. The guys on top are now hitting on 2s. The other guy, the mounts are hitting on 3s. If you have the ability, you can make it exploding 5s, and all of a sudden it's like you're still hitting with the full hit lit unit. The knob on top makes it very effective. For the 60 points, you're essentially just paying for like half of another Squighog point unit. So it's like the good threshold of you don't increase the profile very much, but you do drastically increase the offensive capability by like 30% by just paying that 60 points for that guy in a 3-man unit. It's been helpful every time, but I don't put it on 3rd unit because sometimes you just have a Squighog Boy unit that's going to run out there and throw his bomb, and he might die and collect fire. So the 3rd unit doesn't have the knob. Other than that, the list is really straightforward. You got 3 chucks for the 3 important infantry type units. The Grots are the screen hold backfields. The Storm Boys are either to do deep striking or to do actions. And then the 1 Warbiker unit is because sometimes you got to leave something slightly more durable on your backfield to not get indirected, or you just want more speed to move around and move block. So yeah, I thought it was decent. It was a weird composition of what I had been running, a little different, as I'd been running like several things. I'd run like Knob with Wall Banner for fun. I run a bunch of Orc Trucks for fun. I've been running several things because I didn't expect to go to a GT. And then all of a sudden I was kind of like, hey, they were like, hey, you want to go? And I was like, sure. And then 2 days later, I was like, why'd I do that? So yeah.
Wappa Wop. Welcome back,
Wappa
David.
Wop.
Wappa Wop. Yeah, thank you. I'm glad to be back. And just in case you missed it, now that I'm back, we'll start releasing more content. It was just kind of hard to have reliable internet out there as well as reliable power. I had an adapter converter because they use 220 volt. Well, just in layman's terms, they use a different outlet.
Yes.
And I had an adapter for that. It burned out on me, so I couldn't reliably charge my laptop anymore because it requires more voltage. So it ended up dying on me like the very last day, and I couldn't charge it even if I left it on there for hours. So luckily, it lasted long enough for me to keep up with thumbnails and videos for Eddie to
Nice.
continue on doing his part over here.
Heck yeah.
But yeah, now we're back and we'll resume the program as normal.
I feel like we had a wall recently enough, dude. I just had a wall randomly.
Yeah, right. Wicked Joe, rolling up some black ice. Puff, puff, puff.
I didn't know that. I'm tripping.
I think that's a
Uh-huh.
sheet.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
Voltan also have access to armor contempt.
Yep.
Ooh, even more durability.
Yep. That's why you need the knobs, guys. And a lot of people at first were like, you don't need the knobs. They're this, they're that. I always thought, hey, they have the volume and they have the only AP. Just mega knobs just don't bring the volume. Even if you start to bring power claws for them, there's only like 5 or 6 guys in the unit. But yeah, I mean, they could kind of be used as well, but then you tend to lean into the power claws. And then the power claws, you're like, these only get 2 attacks. It's insulting. And yeah, so I find them to want to stay back and the knobs to be very important as like an offensive piece to kind of like dissect the enemy unit that you're find troublesome. And for the most part, it ends up being some kind of Terminator.
Wicked Joe, I have a few homie bundles. If any gets in here, collect Chaos or Necrons.
Yeah. I mean, WAAAGH got rid of his Black Templars, so yeah, I get it.
And then he also is giving us a. It says, pay green to collect green, to paint green while I smoke green. I don't know where you were going there.
The boys out here rhyming and dropping beats. Yeah, that was dope. I'm trying to get these squigs done, you guys. Make them nice and important.
Sandor says 10 knobs with the war boss survive a lot of BS. Saves you CP to fight on death, or art as nails, something else.
Yeah, I'm essentially always ready to fight on death with my knobs. Like that Sun Ender's just keep in the bank because most people can't clear them out with small arms fire, and a lot of armies want to throw their other elite unit or whatever it may be into them, or if someone's fighting you first. Sometimes I just go in there with my knobs, like, sure, you're gonna fight first, but I'm gonna fight on death, like, because you get your free fight, but I'm gonna get my free trade because I'm not gonna accept that. And you gotta think that for the most part. You be ready for that sometimes, with how much fight first there is now in the game.
And then Christian with a suggestion on secondaries.
Mm-hmm.
He's suggesting fixed secondaries. You can deploy Teleport Homer each turn as one, which is do an action within 6 inches of the center or in enemy deployment zone. Then either assassinate or bring it down as your last secondary. Assume this is for Voltan. Does that make sense? Or just in general for your list?
I don't know about if he meant for my list. But I've seen people bring in this exact thing. What he said right now is like the most common fixed secondary combo. That's pretty much what Frank, if he's still in the chat, but that's essentially what Frank does every game. Mm-hmm. Is that combination of that? Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he did teleport Homer against me, and
he looks to do bring it down if he can as his first option. So yeah, that's very common for Space Marine players to do that combination that Chris just mentioned. And for the most part, any army that has the tools for that, if they're matchup dependent, of course, you could do that as well. It is a good combination for sure.
Yeah, Space Marines definitely like being in the center of the board.
Mm-hmm.
Jumanji, how are you running your knobs? Claws, choppas, or mixed?
I put them all claws. Because to me, that's the main purpose of why you're bringing them, is that they're the only guys that have the volume and the AP that you want. As you just heard from on the chat as well, there's Leagues of Voltam have Armor Contempt. Space Marines have Armor of Contempt. I think there's another faction off the top of my head. I'm having a brain fart that has Armor of Contempt.
Did you say NIDS have it?
Voltan. Oh, NIDS, yeah. And their Nexus detachment has Armor of Contempt. So yeah, all these different factions nowadays are coming out with Armor of Contempt. And GW forgot that they made an index of all -1 AP essentially with orcs. So knobs are just what I put in there, and I'm just like, nope, this is what I got to do. This is what I need. The utility that I need. So yeah, as much as I like doing other things, that tends to be the go-to that I do right now.
Yeah,
Is
it's a
knobs
shame.
with power claws.
Exploding Sixes is not gonna make more contempt.
And not going to make up for the fact that they have a base weapon skill of 4+.
Yeah,
You know, so you're going to go into like Death Guard. They're going to make you -1 to that, so you're non 5+, and then they're going to put a Nurgling within range of a Terminator unit, and that Nurgling is going to make you -1 as well, right? So even with the War Boss, you're still at a deficit. You're still hitting at 4s and such, so it gets bad. Like regardless, I mean, you're gonna hit on 4s. Is what I'm saying. Once you're in contagion range. So yeah, it's just a lot going on. And power claws are important though, so you got to just keep that in mind, how you can keep them viable and reliable.
All right, Wicked Joe's base code is 16 out of 20 bases on stream. Hobby time. Whoa.
Things going here. I mean, they're not gonna look amazing. I'm just getting them battle ready since I've kind of procrastinated a little bit too much, but I'm almost to that point, and I'm not mad about it. I'm not mad about it at all.
And Sandor says, claws wound Marines on 2s too. I don't really see a reason to bring big choppas versus claws.
Yeah, I mean, the only time I ever considered claws is if I bring like a small unit and they don't have the War Boss with them, just because then they're hitting on 3s. That's really the only reason I've ever considered those. So yeah, I agree. Let me see. Sorry, I'm looking at my colors on which way I want to put these guys as their colors now. I think I need to grab a new color. So yeah, and then Christian said something different too.
Yeah, Christian was just saying, in general, since you don't like unreliable deck,
yeah,
taking fix is definitely a doable option.
Yes, I'm to consider that matchup
You
dependent.
can build your list to score those.
Like maybe if you're going against knights and you have to kill them for bringing down, and you're going to run into the table, you're going to have to run to the table to meet them and not let them just shoot you up.
Right.
Yet I've seen games when people win beating knights by just waiting and just throwing slightly stuff onto the objective. I don't know if I have enough stuff to do it that trickle kind of game style, but yeah, that's something to keep in mind for sure.
How are you feeling?
I'm feeling like I made decent progress here. The Squig Hog boys, I got to kind of to extent about three or four colors on there, so that's good. How I'm feeling for the event, I don't know. Still pretty nervous. Still pretty uncertain about what's going to happen with certain matchups. So I'm just going to try to just take it as it goes, and hopefully I don't embarrass myself a little too much. That's it.
I think you'll do good. Don't hang your head too much on the results.
Yeah.
About what you're gaining, the experience that you're gaining from this.
Yeah, that's going to be very helpful anyways for the channel to get firsthand experience exactly what it does, because as I played into more armies and more factions, you get more understanding, because the rules sometimes just aren't enough when you really consider the dice variables into play as well and how weird things can swing, yes. Right? Mm-hmm. So that's something to take into the consideration for sure.
Yeah, just being put in different situations and trying to think your way out of it.
Yeah,
very good experience.
Bring them
in your back pocket.
Bring them grots up late game for that double OC. What's up? For 2 OC each, like, hey, you weren't expecting this, weren't you? You thought I was done scoring. Just throw up in there with a bunch of grots.
All right, James Hughes says, how will you split up 3 Squig Hog Boy boxes? I'm thinking about running 3 squads with 3 knobs.
I ran something similar where I ran 6 and then 3 and then 3. It wasn't terrible, to be honest, because like I said, that third knob on the 3-man unit gives them like a 30% input increase. They're more reliable offensively. Once somebody gets chipped down, it's still viable to keep fighting. So if you don't have like the big brick and such, and you're not worried about assassination, stuff like that, you could run that, especially if you're playing casual. You really could just go 3-3-3 because the unit is still, under 180 points, and it can still punch, run around, store in secondary, stay small enough to hide behind buildings. I don't think it's meta yet, just running like 3-3-3 like that. I think you will want a big unit, but yeah, just the 3 on its own with a knob is totally useful, and I found that up recently.
Wicked Joe says, Whatever you do, don't cross the wall, because you know what happens.
We'll knock your teeth out.
That's right. And anyone going to Armed Forces GT tomorrow, just remember, we got another member there playing. I'll show up if I get the call. We got another boy that's going to make the transaction with Eddie for the Gork.
Yep.
And also, we'll teleport the whole Discord over there if someone gives us problems.
Sure. We got plenty of weird boys in that Discord, and you get little weird gets. So, yeah, plenty of weird boys start appearing out of nowhere and head banging people and heads start blowing up and stuff.
Jumanji says, if it's a good fight, orcs win anyway.
That's true.
That's right.
This orcs is never beaten. Very true.
Says, getting that wife aggro. Have a great night, boys. Good luck tomorrow.
Getting that wife
Fair
aggro.
enough. I know exactly what you mean.
Yeah, that's hilarious.
Right, have a good night.
Yes, sir.
Thanks for joining us.
Thanks, you get. Ooh. So yeah, guys, that's what it is. So we'll see how it goes tomorrow. I just want to do a light stream while I finish off this hobbying. I'm getting to a point that I might be soon to be battle ready. I'll add a little bit more colors here and there to finish these guys off, and then I'll be good. I probably need like one more color on some of these guys. But yeah, tomorrow should be a good, just an informative experience. How about that? Regardless of how it goes, should be very informative. Should help the channel out as a whole, and then that'll help me deliver more interesting information and relative information to you guys. I'm sure it'll make it so the next time I go to a GT or an RTT that I'm much better as a player as a whole, as I pretty much get a crash course in the meta in one weekend event, right? That's really the way I'm seeing it now, is like, regardless of what's going to happen, I'm going to get a crash course on what's happening and what's meta. It's going to hit me in the face. It's going to hit me hard. And there's only up from there at that point.
Yeah, and I think too the timing with me coming back, us ramping up the games, getting more reps, the codexes starting to roll out.
Right.
Is just it's kind of good that we waited, because we had to set up the channel and kind of learn some new skills for YouTube and just get reps streaming and preparing content for you guys. And
yeah, I don't even like pictures, so the fact that we even do streams and videos live is just totally absurd, odd. I would have never expected that. This just kind of came out of nowhere. So
yeah, of all the pictures I took in Italy, a handful of them I'm actually in. So
yeah.
I don't even like taking pictures, like to even be aware to take pictures when I'm doing something takes effort. Like I usually just try to be in the moment and enjoy it best I can.
I was texting him after like 2 weeks, like, hey bro, I haven't seen one picture of Italy, though. I'm like, the heck? What's going on? Are you even doing anything? He's like, oh yeah. This is pretty cool, though. And then show me a picture of a naked dude on top of another naked dude on top of a woman. I'm like, what is that?
That's life.
Bro. Yeah. Like, what is this statue doing? Yeah. So.
All right. Wicked Joe with a question. Would they really not let you game if you were not battle ready? Say you missed a base or two.
No, they let you game. As for how strict would they be to take away my 10 points from battle ready, I don't know. I mean, I'm not sure. It depends on the TO, it depends and stuff like that. I'm sure if it's like a base maybe that's not completely done or whatever, I'm sure they'll let it be okay. But to have like two characters not completely painted, might cause something. So I'm just getting them at least to the 3-color base standard, because that's really what matters, right?
Yeah, typically most TOs are reasonable, and if it's just 1 or 2 bases you miss, they'll be cool with it, because they understand what it takes to get these armies ready to battle standard. All right, Thomas says, good time building up brick by brick. That's right, it's brick by brick, one step at a time. You can't build everything at once. Rome wasn't built in a day. All those great idioms apply. And Sandor Valorek rumor is we getting a Snagga discount box around Xmas. Kill rig, hogs, Snagga boys, and a Squigosaur.
Oh, what is happening? I feel like I shouldn't get that, but I probably am. Let's see. Could I use another kill rig? Absolutely. Could I use more hogs? I guess if I'm trying to get to like the meta. higher to the meta of max 18. I'd have 15 if I did that. Another unit, Beast Snaggle Boys, that would help me because I only own 20 right now, so I can run a brick of 20 and then a small 10-man unit, and then another Squigosaur, so I can run 2 Squigosaurs and Moss.
Yeah, that's.
I mean, if
when
I
you
just
start doing bear reps,
I mean, that could be literally the last box I need to finish off, like a full snaggle list thematically, and then I get that gargantuan squig off from daggers. Yeah. Oh goodness, what's happening? Now I'm getting excited. Valrock, you better not be lying and teasing.
He's usually
on point. He's usually on point. Yeah. That guy knows what's up.
He's got some deep connections.
Yeah, I don't know what's up with that guy, but he's awesome.
He sold his soul.
Ah, that makes sense. Okay. He's the chaos player, right? I think no, that's not Valrock. Is it the one that likes the Imperial Fist?
I don't know what.
There's some guy that likes Imperial. Is it Valrock? I don't think so, guys, but I got an Imperial Fist army, so if it's him, I'm even more of a fan of him.
Or James asking, do you guys slap chop for table ready or try hard?
Neither. I got most of my army painted and such before slap chop became a popular thing. I would do similar versions of my own iteration of it. And then why I say not try hard either is because I'm not a good painter. Like I've said several times on the in Discord and on stream as well, is my other hobbies did not have nothing to do with creativity or stuff like that. So I just learned how to paint as I go and I just do it. So I can't even say try hard because it never looks like I tried hard. It just looks like I barely got by, even when I'm really trying. So it's a weird mixture of yeah, I care and I do want them to look good, but I don't follow any instructional videos necessarily. And slap chop was developed and became popular after I got most of my armies done and developed my own ugly style. So I don't do either of those yet. But our friend was here doing his painting and he was doing slap chop. And when I watched him do it and the results, I thought it was pretty cool. So if I had to advise people on what to do, slap chop seems awesome. At least give it a try if you don't directly do it.
Yeah, because of our buddy Frank, who Eddie was mentioning, slap chopping his entire Ultramarines army in a very short amount of time. I'm actually going to start doing that for my Space Wolves so I can get them ready for tournaments and for the battle reports that we'll do down the line. So I'll let you know how that goes, but it seems the quality seems really good. I like how they came out for him, and the process seemed pretty easy. I really don't like painting. I don't have the patience for it. I guess for what I do have painted, I would label it as try hard because it took a lot of effort.
Yeah, you did try hard
to get to that part. Even if it's not high quality, it just took a lot of mental focus.
That's a good way to put it.
That's try hard for me. But yeah, slap chop seems to be the way. There's a reason why it became very popular.
Yeah, I would definitely say get into slap chat if you're a new player, because I also heard it works really well if your army has a lot of creases and crevices and doesn't have a lot of flat surfaces, which is exactly what orcs are. So I would say give it a try. It's not that I'm opposed to it. It's just that I think this is some of the only orcs I don't have painted in my whole collection. So I don't really know what else I would start to paint besides that Morkanaut that I'm going to get on Saturday. And even then, I do an airbrush and then I'd do outlining for that. And I don't know if slap chop would directly apply to that. So I'll look into it. Maybe I'll do a little slap chop video trying to put him together or something. That'd be interesting. I don't know if anybody wants to see me paint though. What the heck? A terrible painter.
They're watching you right now.
Yeah. Oh, I have it down here. They can't even see. Yeah.
Wicked Joe, I heard about the X-Mex boxes at the shop. I never knew they were a thing.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, when we first got into it, I didn't know they were a thing either until we got in around fall, so November-ish. So they started coming out. Rumors started coming out almost immediately, and fortunate for me, there was a Space Wolf player that was awesome, and he gave me the Space Wolves Xmas Battle Force box for Christmas, and I was extremely grateful. I was really happy because that came with my first set of Wolfen. And if anyone knows Wolfen in previous editions, they're a very mean unit.
Yep.
But they're fun.
Yes, they're fun.
He also says, I slap chopped my squad of Gretchen and checked to see if it was battle ready at the Warhammer store. It passed with only speed paints and a wash.
Perfect. Exactly. And I always say it's about just getting your army painted, because once you get it painted, you don't want to go back to non-painted stuff anymore. it starts to feel weird. So I'd say, yeah, don't go crazy buying a bunch of paints. Maybe find a slab chop scheme and then just start painting. And once you have battle ready armies, from there you can progress into try hard. But if you jump into it too early, like as a collector, and decide I'm going to go try hard right off the bat on everything, there's a good chance as an orc player you'll burn yourself out because there's just so much stuff to do, you know? So I could totally see slab chop being a great way to get like into it, get stuff battle ready, and then from there you can sweaty go try hard into other more valuable models. Maybe
you mentioned another benefit of slab chopping is you don't have to buy a lot of paints to get started and start painting your models. That's one mistake I made right in the beginning. I bought like 20 something paints thinking, oh yeah, I'm gonna get this done.
Do this and this,
and I never did. I mean, I got like one unit painted and I only used a fraction of those paints. But now going to today, a lot of those paints that I never used are all dried up.
Yeah, years later.
GW is not cheap paint.
Yeah, and yeah. So,
Definitely
anyways,
don't do that.
Don't do that. If anything, give Vallejo.
Yeah, Vallejo for sure. All right, Sandor says, yeah, Valrek is the Imperial Fist
Oh,
guy.
there he is. Boom, boom, boom. I own Imperial Fist Army too, fully painted and based. That's my boy. I like Imperial Fist because they're essentially similar to Ultramarines and like how they can be respected and they're honorable and traditional, yet they don't have plot armor, so they be taking L's all day. So I can relate to that. So yeah, I like them.
The clip says, if that snag box comes out, it sounds good to pick up 2.
Oh, look at you. That is 2. Honestly,
Yeah,
2 would be good, to
I
be
would
honest.
Especially if you're starting out with orcs and you don't have a lot of those units already. Like, that's a great start.
Those boxes are always such a great deal, man. I remember I got a Tyranid box when it was for Christmas before, and I wasn't even like ready to collect Tyranid or do anything. I just got it, put it in my closet for almost 2 years. And then I did a trade of my Death Guard army for Tyranids, and then I had that box at my disposal. I looked at the box, and it had gone up to like $400 or something in value because of the models at the time and what it was. And I was super happy. Like, now I have a bunch of, I didn't sell it, I used it. So I have, you know, multiple Hive Tyrants, and then it was the only unit of Hive Guard I ever got, stuff like that. So it's a big deal if you can get those boxes, budget for them preemptively, get it in, even if you know you're going to put it aside or whatever. The value that comes from them is very true. It's very true. That's why they get such a good name in the community.
All right, Wicked Joe, I'm going to get 2K done with Slap Chop before January. If I get back to the details, would depend.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
It's about getting a battle ready, man.
Yeah, exactly.
Especially as an orc player. Don't burn yourself out and then show up with great armies for like 3 months like I did. You know, the guys at the GW store just like, you know, those have to get painted eventually, right? I'm like, I don't know, man. I got a primer. They're like, no. I mean, you want to paint them. I'm like, I painted the base, so you know they're different units. He's like, dude, you have like 20 paints. I'm like, yeah, never mind. You're right. So use just battle ready, because if you make it a daunting task, it will become a daunting task.
Yes. Christian's just verifying Valric loves the fist.
Yeah, that's one of me, one other boys. Valric, you know, what's up, dude? With that pink hair you got and stuff. I like him.
Yeah, more people are verifying.
Okay, so yeah, everybody knows what's up. I'm glad I remembered that instead, you know, because I thought he was a Blood Angels player. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
James wants to know, what's your airbrush setup?
Oh, I gotta look. I have a Patriot, I think 101, and then I have just some big compressor that I got on Amazon for like $120. I did get the precision needle as it became necessary. I would say pay a little bit extra for that nice modeling airbrush that is for precision and for small models in general. The bend I got is a Badger. It's actually the Badger. Sorry, I called it. It's like a Badger Patriot 101. Some iteration, as they're all different, but it's a Badger. Definitely pay that little extra for the nicer airbrush with the precision needle anyways. Just put the money up front. It does save you a good amount of time if you choose that you're not going to get into Slap Shop. But like, I airbrushed like 90 boys in one day, like just got all the base color done on them. And then as it got better, I was able to do all the green on all of them. And then the last time I went through with the brush and just finished them all off. So if you're going to do like hordes, it can definitely become valuable and such for sure. Or I did it for some vehicles when I was preparing for Vegas. Give everything like a nice purple coat right off the bat.
Yeah, that's where I think the airbrush comes in really, really handy, is with vehicles, because trying to just base paint that is really hard because you can see the imperfections.
Literally, I sat down and just was like for a day, just had everything out, just went through and got it all purple by the end of it. Sure, I was a little burnt out, but that was the most effective way to do it.
On the clip sharing that gut ripus flesh and plague bears makes a good orc slap chop skin.
Okay. Oh, okay.
And Wicked Joe seconds that.
Is the gut ripper? Okay, that's awesome. What kind of orc skin do you guys like to see though? Is kind of what I'm into, right? I've seen different versions of orc skin. Some people like that grungy, like dirty look. Some people like that orc, like maybe they were sitting in soot the whole time look. Some of them like the plague bear kind of yellowish olive color look. I tend to go for like almost a bright green, like a bright green, not light green, but like a straight up green kind of bright color. And I do that because I like to just see the greenness, just a straight up green, and don't have it blended with my models either. But everybody's different. I've seen a lot of different good versions. So what kind of green do you guys necessarily like? The dark one, that more olive color, kind of like the big plague bear version? Or do you go for just like a straight up green? Like mine's almost like cartoon green because they're so green, because I use legit War Boss green, or I use Warpstone Glow green, which is like a very, I mean, I don't know how to describe green any more than green, so sorry for my bad vocabulary. But yeah.
Sandor says, yeah, I've got like 4,500 points of orcs, and most of it's gray, sadly. LOL.
Exactly. Yeah, dude. I mean, I was a victim of that too. I got so excited because I got into it in the winter time. And then I just didn't paint anything. I was constantly playing, stuff like that. And before you knew it, I was like, hey, I literally have like everything just built and not painted. It's easy to fall behind, and that's why I got into airbrushing, because I got tired of looking at the gray, to be honest.
Yeah. And now that he's playing more, he's also painting more.
Fantastic. So you need to paint right now.
And Gator Nade says, I got a 1K game against Necrons coming up. What do we have to kill Lynchguard?
Whoa. So Lynchguard are very tricky, right? If you get the crypto thralls and stuff like that for the Feel Pains, it can swing either direction. Just so you know, you most likely will have to one-shot them, because at the end of your turn, they'll start to reanimate. They'll bring the crypto thralls back. In the beginning of their turn, they'll bring more Lynchguard back. So it's going to be a daunting task. I would say if you can, kill everything else around the Necron list and leave that brick on its own, as you should be much faster than it to engage it across the board. But let's say if you have to kill them, which like I said, I don't really think you should. I would only say maybe Knobs with the War Boss, Exploding Fives, and just
1K.
hope for the best. Yeah, exactly. It's just so expensive. Like I said, I don't think we actually have anything reliably to punch out the Lynchguard, because the 4 Feel No Pain on those crypto thralls and dudes keep coming back is outrageous. So yeah, I would say don't kill everything else, because the board's still really big. So utilize the fact that you want speed units at 1K, because unlike other editions, the 1K games actually utilize the entire board, which means we can take advantage of our speed over Necrons as they're really slow. So don't do that. Go kill everything else. And if you're really committed that you want to kill them because you really want to like collect their bits, the only unit that might be able to do it is Knobs with the War Boss. And even then, I'm not sure.
Yeah, it's gonna come down to how those saves come up.
Yeah, so I would just say go for everything else. Since we're so fast, we should be able to get the initiative and kill the rest of their stuff.
All right, and the clip likes the Shrek colored orcs.
Okay, yeah, that's a good way to put it.
Wicked Joe likes the bright shamrock green on most.
Okay, yeah, that's kind of how I like it too.
But some need that plague bear or a dingier green because the old mangly grots.
Okay, yeah. That's it.
How many paint pots have you spilled?
Me?
Yeah, you.
Oh.
He's talking to you.
How about not a ton? If I do spill them over, it tends to be like a contrast, right? As it tips over and then goes everywhere. That's only been a couple, because I have these little right off the bat, I've had these to hold them, right? So luckily, yeah, these 3D printed little trays. So I've had these for the most part, so that hasn't happened to me. But what I have done is allowed a buildup in the back of the of the paint, right? And then it builds up in the back right here. That's not showing the good example. And you can see a little buildup right there. That will easily start to dry out your paints and waste your paints if you don't close these correctly. So that's more likely what I've done more often. How many times have I done that? Probably about a third to a quarter of all my paint pots. So it sucks.
I'd say I'd spilled one contrast paint, and that hurts because it's so watery.
Yeah, it
so
goes-
a lot of it spills out. Like it's pretty
Done.
much done.
Done.
Yeah. So
And then I spilled one of what was that Necron green that came out like 2 years ago?
Tesseract Glow, which I do have too. I think mine probably
Yeah,
painted
that
dried
one.
up now, but that was a cool paint when it worked.
But yeah, like you said, making sure you fully close these. You gotta like press around the entire thing to make sure.
Yeah, it's easy to think that you got it because you heard the pop when you're first closing it, but you probably might want to check that again.
Yeah. Well, that's another reason to buy Vallejo.
Yeah, I mean, not that we're anti GW. It's just as even I got into airbrushing, I was like, honestly, I think Vallejo is just easier, better, at least equal to similar, better quality, and but it's cheaper and the bottles
half
are
the price.
and the bottles are better. Is really where the best what's better about them.
Half the price, and you get almost double the amount of paint.
Yeah, the quality of the actual container is much better.
And you know, as we all know, this hobby is not cheap. So I think in any area that you can save a little bit of money, so you can buy more plastic,
Yeah,
it's
exactly.
worth it.
Yeah.
Our fellow Necron player says, "We don't kill the Lynch Guard. It's just not balanced at 1K points."
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, he pretty much just said what I said it in too many words. He said it straight to the point. Don't kill him. Just do everything else. He's right.
Wicked Joe, I'm trying to paint up my 3 knobs on Smash the Squigs
Yeah.
like Barney, Baby Bop, and BJ.
What the? This dude's outrageous. I love this guy.
Oh, man.
It's so funny.
Well, yeah, credit to you, man.
Yeah. Keep it up. You weird. See what I mean? How I said weird boy guys? You thought I was just saying it as a joke. See what I got to deal with? I mean, I'm not mad about it. It's just hilarious.
And he's also only spilled one
Okay.
paint pot.
Okay. Look at us. All of us. We all seem to learn from just one. Once you drop one, you're like, I can never do that again. So, yeah.
And then James sharing his experience. That paint build up got me once.
There
I
you
was
go.
shaking up a pot of bottle
Oh.
red and the top popped off. It looked like a murder
No.
scene.
No. Yeah, no, for sure. And let me guess, you were painting up 18 Death Copters, right? Was that what happened?
Don't lie to us,
When I did
James.
the long stream, he just got started with like 3 other dudes, and they were just going in about how they're gonna play Death Copters, and they wouldn't stop, and it was fantastic. And they'd like start the conversation with a good one, and then they'd be like, "But Death Copters." I'm like, "All right, guys, that was great, but you ain't running 18 Death Copters yet.
Just watch.
Just wait till hey, you know what happens, guys? Wait till the codex drops out, and then they're gonna be meta for no reason. It's gonna be awesome."
All right, Wicked Joe says Pro Acro. I don't know if that's short for acrylic. Has pretty good paints. I love their pigmentation and opacity on their paint.
Look at that, dude. Opacity. I've never used that word in context correctly when painting, to be honest. That's what I'm saying. And I'm almost a Neanderthal when it comes to painting. I just figured this out like recently in life.
Yeah, I tend to forget the proper words too.
Yeah.
Just keep it simple.
For real. How dare you use proper terminology on me?
Hey, well, if he's gonna be painting his knobs like
Just need my
Baby
blue.
Bop and BJ, he better know the proper terms. All right. What you got left?
Literally just like little armored plate pieces, and I'm done.
Christian agrees with the
Oh.
Pro Acro paints are amazing.
Christian became an
Wow,
excellent
I didn't
painter
even
too.
know
All of
he
a
was
sudden,
aware of
dude.
that brand.
Dude,
It's really come up.
He
Yeah.
became a legit painter, dude. He was
Yeah,
Doesn't
I know he's
stop.
painted a lot for
Mhm.
sure.
Well, crackhead. Yeah, he's been going on. No, just kidding. Christian, you guys know Christian. He's been on stream before. He's the World Eaters guy that talks and stuff. So he appears and listens in sometimes once in a while. He's my cousin as well, just like David is. So yeah. I'm almost done here, guys. So thanks for keeping me entertained and yourselves entertained and focused on the goal. They're not looking amazing or anything, I promise you that, but they're pretty much making the shortcuts about already as quick as possible. Oh, so you do want me to show you all my ugly stuff. I'll show on Discord. How about that? That's fine. You guys are all nice and stuff. These are not something I want to show off. This is like they were straight up gray when we started the stream, and so was my Beast Boss, and so was my Kit Bash Flash Bad Ruck. So yeah.
Yeah, I think he's maybe asking for some hobby progress.
Oh, show some. Show some of the hobby stuff on Discord. Yeah, that's normally what we would do here.
Yeah,
I wasn't prepared.
Yeah, we weren't exactly prepared. I just flew in last night. We kind of threw an audible here with Eddie needing to prepare for the tournament tomorrow. It's a 2-day GT event, and yeah, sorry guys, but
normally yes,
normally we do.
That's exactly what I like to do when we're doing these hobby streams. I like to pull up other people's hobby stuff. I've been seeing a lot of cool stuff on this Discord. So if anything, we're gonna have a backlog of stuff to show from Discord next week and such like that. So definitely going to be a regular thing on here.
Yeah, we'll be back on point next week.
Yeah, I always say that I actually enjoy showing that a lot because I'm not a creative painter or builder, so I live vicariously through you guys when you guys show that stuff on there. Because I'm like, I don't have any Kit Bash trucks or planes like other people do. I just have 5 GW trucks and 5 GW planes. Yeah. So as a whole, that's a big part of what I like to show on here too. So thanks for shouting that out. I will definitely be doing that for sure, no doubt. I was like, I thought you were talking about me. I was like, don't make me show them. They're ugly. Don't make me show my models. Yeah. Because right now, this is literally just about getting them done. I might go back and paint them correctly in my, scheme and such like that. I most likely will after this, but this was just get them to battle standard ready, maybe a little bit higher, just so that they're not horrific looking. And then we just go. So I'm going in. I'm trying to get it in as quickly as possible. Pretty much painted these 5 models from just based. They were just based. That's all they had on them. They just had a primer on them when I started the stream. So I'm glad that they're going to be at least like battle ready. They're definitely going to look uglier and different than my other models, but like I got to show you right now. So hopefully the camera's not terrible, right? But let's just say here's one of my flash kits. Not great because the camera, pretty straightforward. He's like blue, purple, a little bit of orange. And then the one I just painted right now is horrific. Is just straight up a slightly different iteration of that, right? You can't see the very on camera, but he has like dry brush and some other stuff as well. So it's about getting it ready. It's okay though. I was just showing them an ugly paint. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
All right, Thomas says, "Oh yeah, I need to see that Kit Bash Bad Ruck on Discord."
It's not even that amazing. It's literally just I took this is from a BeastNaga, the free choppa from the knob. I cut it down to act as Bad Ruck's chainsaw. And then instead of using the cigar smoking hand that you get from the kit, because I had 15 flash kits, I put it up so you could hold it over his head. I attached the arm, and then I just kept him as an actual flash kit with the gun. And then I used the captain hat. So it's a cheat because I literally just used the flash kit body with BeastNaga bits a little bit to make him look like Captain Badrock, because he has the melee weapon and he's easy to identify out of the whole unit because he's the only one carrying a big old chop on his head. So it's not like a great one, but there are better ones on Discord and such like that people put together. But yeah, I just took my BeastNaga, my BeastNaga Squighog Boy knob leftover choppa and cut it down to act as Badrock's choppa.
I think that's a viable solution because those are kits that people commonly have.
Yeah.
Maybe when you have some time, you can post it on Discord for the people not here. Wicked Joe, I feel that ordinary truck life.
Yeah, man. I go on the Discord. Sometimes I'm insecure. I'm like, I'm on my army. You guys are like, look at this. I Kit bash this from a soda can, a toy, a grenade I found. Boom, look at this truck. I'm like, what? What's happening, dude? I'm barely figuring out how to put this plastic kit together. But we all have a different way to enjoy the hobby, I guess, huh?
Wicked Joe's also kit bashing his Bad Ruck next week with a knob box, mega knob, and flash kits box.
Okay, yeah. Nice. So you just took flash kits. I like the mega knob, probably make them look a little bit more beefy and larger. But and at the end of the day, I hope GW will come out with a not fine cast version of Captain Badrock here soon. And then once they do that, I can easily throw my boy back into his flash kit unit, and then I can have 15 flash kits again. So not a bad thing at all.
And James says, I was all excited about the 6 Def Copter lot I bought. It showed up with a broken blade and missing heads. Good thing is I only need 6 more copters.
You meant it. Whoa. You know, if some of them have, I think, 4 propellers, and some really do have 2 or 3. I mean, so I mean, if one has 2, technically, you know, the orc believes it works, it's gonna work. And you know, having other head bits, hopefully you do from boys or something like that. But that is unfortunate when that happens, when you get what you think's a good deal and you're excited and you're like, oh, I got to put some work into these guys because they're destroyed.
Yeah.
So yeah, I get it. I thought about, I do want another kill rig. I'm trying to make my mech wall a little bigger. So the fact that I'm gonna get that Gorkanut's pretty exciting, actually. And that's probably what I'm gonna start running for fun for a little bit after this. Just get that mech life going. A lot of people make me a little like I'm getting a little FOMO seeing all these awesome mech wall lists running around on Discord and such.
How's your progress going there?
So I think I'm like just about finishing up here.
Nice.
It's not anything surprising or like it's not actually even good looking, to be honest, but it's
battle ready.
It's battle ready. It's battle ready. It's acceptable. And they're distinguishable from other units, so it's not going to confuse anybody or me. Yeah, it's just going to be like they're going to be like, oh, the other stuff looks kind of you know, that's what most likely what's going to happen. They're going to see the other army like units and be like, oh, that looks kind of cool, and then they're going to just hopefully ignore these models.
Wicked Joe is kit bashing a kill rig with the big pig dropping tomorrow.
Oh yeah, that's like I think, is that from AOS? Yeah, I think it's from AOS, right? The big pig. I'm pretty sure it is. I was seeing that too. All right, let me finish here. All right, we'll probably go like 4 or 5 more minutes because I'm almost done, guys. Just so you guys know. So if you have any more questions, things you want to ask me, rant about, yell at me at, let me know. Let me know.
Yeah, we could run over the list again if you just joined us and didn't hear what the list was, or if you have specific questions for Eddie
or criticisms about my list. If you question anything on there, or if you don't like something on there, that's cool with me too.
All right, Sandor says, I hope we get a refresh of Badrock and also another leader for flash kits. I'm totally down to run 30 pirate orcs. It's decent.
Yeah, I definitely just at least need that new Badrock model for sure. As for another character, I don't know. What we heard is from one of the guys is actually from a orc lore book. Is what people think is coming out. So that could be pretty awesome. I think a little excited for that. We'll see. I just really hate that fine cast model, to be honest, guys. As I'm sure most of you guys do. With this old and there's metal versions, and then people now online are trying to sell, you know, the old version for like $80 because he's meta. Just make your own. Don't chase that.
Wicked Joe wants some boat ship bikes.
Okay. Nice. I've seen so many really cool like conversions for the bikers. People using like spiders from AOS and put grots on them, or have grots be the riders instead. So yeah, it reminds me all the time whenever I go on the Discord what it really is to be about like the orc community, because it's not really about the meta like other factions where they're just stuck on how cool their models can be, like in the actual gameplay or whatever, or how cool GW makes their kit. For orcs, it's really just about everything as a whole. From if I see a kit I like, I'm gonna make that an orc kit now. And that's and that's awesome.
And that'd be a really cool theme, a pirate themed orc army, you know, revolving maybe around the flash kits. You easily maybe throw in a kill rig in there. It's already shaped like a boat.
Yeah, that's a good point. It's already shaped like a boat. Overall, I'm just excited for the possibilities, especially once we get a codex. That Death Guard release kind of like not necessarily restored my faith in GW, but it restored my faith in their creativity ability for rules, like creative and rules. And then the Tyranid index or codex, excuse me, even though there's maybe going to come down to like 1, maybe 2 versions of we're going to play competitively, as a whole, everything is playable at the casual level, which is what you want. you're not going to feel bad.
Right. I'm also hoping that this is a format that they continue to roll out to future editions, because with as they release more iterations of these type of rules, if they remain to a format, you'd imagine that they would just get better at it.
Mm-hmm.
And instead of kind of jumping around all over the place like they have been with every edition, it's kind of hard to build off of anything if you're just always changing completely the mechanics.
Yeah.
Or how you release codexes, indexes, and all those kind of things. So yeah, when does that codex drop? Like springtime is the.
I think so. Yeah, springtime. We can get our speed wall going, get our mech walls going, and hopefully get a green tide going, man.
Get a death copter wall going.
A death. Stupid. A death copter wall going. That'd be under the guise of a speed wall. You know, in most cases.
And have a special rule: you can run more than 3 units.
It was someone was saying in the chat last time, like that the death copters and the bikers become battle line.
Oh.
It was like, I'm like, oh my gosh, you guys. And I'm like, well, it's not out of the question since our new starter box does come with death copters now, so they're pretty they're a pretty common unit for people to own now because of that.
Thomas says he hopes for Nazdreg that Bad Moon get in Mega Armor. I thought also a while back there was an Orc special named War Boss. Also another, I think Orcs had a named Weird Boy or a Warp Head.
Yeah, there could be a couple options for that. I do like that get too. In the shock hammer, like there's other weapons also that I like to see. That'd be cool if you bring that into the Orcs as well. Battle ready. Right, purple, green. I made the gray, and then I put this little ogre color to kind of act as the fur and the scale. It's not really going to blow anybody's socks off, but it is playable and correct now. Not amazing. Here we go. 3 colors. This isn't even like my scheme. These guys look completely different than my other ones. It's fine. That's the unit that's supposed to die. So that's the unit supposed to go 3 guys by itself. So I'm not mad about it at all.
And the important thing is that it's painted.
Yeah.
So you're gonna get your points.
Based.
You get.
Yeah.
The clip says, "I got over 100 bodies in my list. I'm here for the green tide."
For the green tide. Yeah. Big Boss, I think he's running 100 bodies as well at the Armed Forces GT. He's running like Big Mac with Custom Force. I mean, the Big Mac with KFF, a Weird Boy, Pain Boys, I believe, War Bosses. Very thematic. I think he can actually do pretty well at the event because we have pretty dense tables, and he's really just trying to like score primary. Maybe he has enough small units to try to score secondary. So I do think his list could actually do pretty well. Like I said, I want to run something similar, but I knew I would fatigue out probably, and I don't have the movement trays and stuff. So I don't want to get knock over terrain and just be annoying the whole time for 5 games. So I decided to opt out for it. But for general play, I like to play like that all the time. I love Green 10.
Wicked Joe with an idea here. A rev 'em up wall where all your mechanized units get a second wall.
Ooh, God, goodness. Would that be unfair for the rest of them? Would any of the other options be viable anymore? Unless you limited what units were allowed to be in it, I guess. Right?
I mean, you think there's a chance they maybe bring back 2-turn wall?
2 different ones, or just is this last 2 turns?
I don't know. Like
before it was
2 turns with different abilities. If so.
Like a diminished version, like yeah, because the other one was you still got to retain the additional strength, I want to say, or attack or something, but you lost the 5-up invul. Right. Like so, it was like it was diminished.
Mm-hmm. That wouldn't be too strong to give the orcs, especially with all the rules and interactions we see nowadays.
Yeah, we're in a good place where we don't want to get nerfed, for any reason. We want to just chill here in this good Goldilocks zone until our book drops, in my opinion.
Yeah. Well, I was saying when the book drops, is that possible?
No, you're just trying to get us nerfed, dude. No, I'm just kidding. Yeah, no, that's totally is possible, of course.
Space was getting nerfed before they got anything.
Yeah, it's totally possible.
24 Thunderwolf Cav units.
Perfect. That's what we all want to see.
Yeah, right. Take up the whole deployment zone. Wicked Joe, like putting a knob in with wall banner on a bike unit.
Yeah, that would be sick. I mean, I enjoy using the knob with wall banner as it is for fun. He comes a little pricey, but his utility is good. I think I would just need more reps with him to get like very good with that one, unit. But the capability of having a second wall, popping it defensively, having the OC, putting pressure on people, affecting their turn one kind of movement and staging, because they know that you can throw this brick of boys into them and still stage the rest of your army while they try to chew through that. So I've found decent success, and I considered bringing him, but then you kind of run out of bodies if you bring you run out of chaff and bodies if you start to bring Flash Gits, a Knob Banner, Squig Hog Boys. If you start to bring all those packages, then you're playing just hyper elite, and that's where it kind of fell off for me. So it would have to be like a good medium where maybe you're running, a bunch of cheap stuff in general, and you're using the Knob with Wall Banner to apply the pressure while the rest of your stuff's against a position to throw up points, and then continuously keep throwing up the points and momentum.
And Thomas says, my bad, a speed boss of some kind, missed that one. Had a name.
I don't know either, but we're gonna do that video of Legends video as well at some point. And they have like a Pain Boy on a bike and Legends, and they have like a Big Mac on the bike. And I know some people are like, well, I don't play Legend stuff. Well, if you're playing casually with your friends, and if they have a codex and you don't, they might just allow you to play with that Legends, or you guys might just be able to fun game. Or like we heard earlier in the stream, someone's playing like a Hell's Reach, with Gaz and against Black Templars. Like in a game like that, you don't got to take it that serious. I'm pretty sure, not all the time at least. People might allow you to play with like one Legends model if you're playing a thematic list. If you're like, I'm trying to run a speed wall, but we don't have any rules for our speed wall. Can I use this one character that I know that I have? Sure. Most people that your friends are going to be like, sure, man, no problem.
And the clip says, I'll like for a weird boy on 2 to 5 regular jump and on a 6 to alpha strike with no CP reroll for fun. Like as an ability?
Yeah. He's saying on the data sheet ability, just let him keep going. Yeah, I think, that being said, I'm not disagreeing with you. I'm just saying weird boys slept on sometimes, So I like to see that he gets good play, but he's also not like an auto take, and then he might get a points increase or whatever, like we seen with the Beast Boss. All it took was one World Teams event appearance with trucks and Beast Bosses, and GW is like, those are the main things I need to get nerfed in that codex, right? So as soon as you see competitive players, it's like spamming one thing in your list. They're trying to like ignore all the dice variables in the game and just do what's completely reliable. That GW is going to immediately go and hit that with a nerf hammer when they get the chance. So I wouldn't say chase those kind of things either. Not that you're suggesting that. I'm just saying this is why I like the weird boy where he's at. I like where a lot of the characters are at with orcs. The fact that Maz is super annoying, but he's just not annoying enough that he's okay. That he does, and he's an epic character, so you can't spam him, is nice. But imagine if you could take 3 Mazes. People just take 3 Mazes, then he'd get nerfed to be like 300 points. Yeah. So
it's typically how it goes.
Yeah, it's typically how it goes. Like, so if you're ever watching these channels and plays, guys, keep that in mind that like even though we're keep aware of what's meta, once you start seeing the same thing being ran over and over competitively, people just don't care about anything else in the codex or in the index. They just want to ignore as much as they can in the game for what's proficient. GW's going to immediately start putting a microscope to that and start nerfing those kind of units.
Right. Like if these,
so don't chase it.
Just 3-man Norm emissary lists become popular.
Yeah.
They'll get a point hike
right away. Yeah. That's what I kind of see what's happening, where people are they're gonna start taking them more, because 300 is like normally you'd be like, ow, but when you're that much durability and primary control, GW probably will try to handle those guys as well.
Thomas with more models that he'd like to see. I want to see the General or some orc war bosses from the Mike Brooks books.
The War Bosses book, essentially. Yeah, there's so many good characters in that book, regardless. What you really wanted to see was the Avatar. No, I'm just kidding. But yeah, that's a great call out right there. Orcs do have some great characters from all their different books that have come out recently. Their more recent book line is really fun for the orcs as a whole. So.
Yeah, that'd be awesome to see, but I think GW is trying to reduce the ranges
of lame characters. Yeah,
and especially name characters, and like these larger codexes, like Space Marines and Orcs. Because didn't you guys have a lot of name characters?
We got a couple. They got rid of a couple of name characters. There was a Big Mac that we had, Big Boss or something like Big. I forgot his actual name right now because I didn't own him, but he was a name character. That was a Big Mac and Mega Armor, and they got rid of him. So yeah, that's a good point.
Wicked Joe giving us a warning here. Watch out for that Castigator cannon on the new Knight. He drops tomorrow, so he might be put in a few lists soon. Yeah, Knights are getting
soon
2
he's
new
coming.
models.
Yeah, it's from the Forge World. I think they were before, and now they got their plastic kits.
Yeah, so
That's true. And with that being said, I think we've completed our mission of battle ready, and the base is completed. Almost exactly 2 hours.
There
So
we
thanks
go.
all you guys for the support and getting it ready. I'll try to go to sleep soon so I can be prepared for tomorrow. Not let the anxiety and nerves get to me too much.
All right.
Yeah.
What you say?
All right, guys. But there's always one thing to keep in mind, right? As we all know. Don't cross a wall, because we knock your teeth out. Whoa!